Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 128 of the Terminus podcast. For the weeks of September 7th, 2019, I am your dispatcher, Ellis, otherwise known as the Admiral. With me this week are Brett Wiebold, Jacob Durbin, and Jared Cole as our engineers and firemen, and our guest brakeman returning after quite a while is Mr. Rail. Welcome back.
It's been years.
I know. It was good to be away, I'm sure, but it's good to have you back. Anyway. Before, oh god. Yeah, so we've got some stuff to talk about, including a disaster that has not, the likes of which has not been seen since the Tiny Town train tragedy, which I believe was on one of the very first podcasts. So, We'll get to that sooner or later, and the train will terminate at this station.
Okay, this week we're in Siege. We're in the most honorable Hayabusa Tower, which I am refraining from doing the thing for.
Listen, we can talk about it later. I mean, that'd be kind of an interesting thing to throw in as a termination, although you've already got yours, so...
I've already got my termination.
Maybe I'll talk about it later. Anyway, speaking of things terminating rapidly... oh, you know what? I attributed certain crashes to UP when I meant to attribute them to CSX. So let me reorganize this just slightly, because CSX had 3 and Union Pacific had 3. Canadian Pacific had 1, which is by far the most, oh god. But we are going to start with CSX. So CSX had a derailment that closes Chesterfield Road. I have no idea where that is. 3 cars off the tracks. Due to the damage, it would take hours to clear the scene.
Luckily, no one was hurt.
Yeah, luckily no one was hurt, but there was a tank... Like, the picture here is a really poor nighttime picture of a tank car with exactly 1 set of wheels under it. And actually, there are 2 sets of wheels, but they're both at the same end.
For future, poor and nighttime are not good words to accompany each other.
Why?
No.
Because say them quickly together in the way that you did.
Poor nighttime?
I can't be the only one hearing that.
Well, get your mind out of the gutter. Because we have plenty of trains in the gutter this week. So there was another train derailment at of CSX, which it doesn't even look like a derailment based on this picture. It looks like a container tipped off of the top of a train and just broke open on the ground. But I don't think that's what happened. Parts of Main and Cherokee Streets in Kennesaw were shut down by police Sunday morning after a train went off the rails and damaged a bridge. Okay, funny, not really funny, but funny because this is not the only bridge that's been damaged by derailments this week. The bridge reopened, I mean, there's really basically nothing happened here. No injuries, no hazardous materials. But Union Pacific had one. I thought I was going to get a seg to the other one. This was 10 cars in downtown Shreveport. It was kind of difficult to figure out who this was because the pictures were not many, but Kavan apparently figured it out. And 10 cars lying on their side. Quote, each car was carrying nothing that posed a threat to the community or the environment, which I feel like is a really wordy way to say that. But
they were empty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After a complete investigation...
Oh no, they spilled oxygen everywhere!
They spilled air, oxygen, nitrogen, oh god.
We've struck some kind of gas. What do you think it is? I don't know!
So yeah, that blocked the UP and KCS main lines, but if we want to talk about oxygen spilling everywhere, CP derailed a train and leaked octane from a broken tank car.
Lovely.
Yeah, so they had to, which is flammable.
Well, yeah.
Oh my.
Das ist nicht good.
They had to take apart the pile of cars to secure the leak, or to reach the leak. So yeah, and they had to evacuate some homes and shut down this road. So really a bad time if you lived up that way in the middle of nowhere.
Stupid question: is octane transported as a gas? Or yeah,
Believe so.
Yeah.
I assume so because they wouldn't be transporting it cryogenically.
I guess.
Anyway,
And they have cryogenic tanks.
so following that, Union Pacific had another one where they crashed into a semi-truck. Unfortunately, the conductor was killed.
Oh.
He was found in the semi-truck.
Wait.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That hurt.
That really confused me for a minute. I thought it was some sort of bizarre twist of fate where the guy had a second job as a trucker. But no, he somehow went from the cab of the locomotive to the cab of the truck. And then later died of
Ouch.
injuries due to changing vehicles at high speed. The following day,
Ooh, man.
Union Pacific derailed in Portland and smacked into and cracked severely the support of a overpass.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, some of the train cars that it was moving around were carrying LPG. Thankfully, they didn't rupture, but now they're going to have to close this bridge.
Union Pacific is no longer bridging the gap in modern society.
UP is unbridging the gap. UP is underneath that bridge, taking it down.
Try their damnedest.
Also,
Yeah,
that was a bad joke.
yeah, it was. But anyway, another
But
train
A for
derailed
effort, man.
after colliding with a tractor-trailer. This was a CSX train on September the 6th, although I wrote the 7th because, whoops. Train collision, blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's really just, like, engines all over the place. There was a diesel spill, but nothing else serious. So, if you want to read about any of
Except
those...
all the oxygen.
Yeah, and the nitrogen.
Whoa. There's even argon in there.
A little.
A little. There's trace amounts of argon. Krypton, too.
Yeah. Superman would be very unhappy.
Oh.
He's no longer faster than a speeding locomotive. Or more powerful than it, whatever. Anyway, so,
Faster than a
that's,
speeding bullet.
that's that. What else have we been doing? Other than crashing trains. And by we, I don't mean to insinuate that it was any of our fault that things were crashed, but, you know.
So, weird piece
I
of
think
trivia,
crashing
actually,
trains-
going back to the Superman thing.
Uh-oh.
So, the saying at the beginning of the cartoons is always faster than a speeding bullet, stronger than a locomotive, can leap, blah, 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 blah. The first comic actually doesn't show him being stronger than a locomotive. It shows him running faster than a locomotive. So what you said is actually fairly correct.
Okay, well, I thought you were going to bring up the thing, like the age-old question of, has Superman gotten stronger over time, or is he just stronger than the hypothetical peak of locomotives?
I don't know.
It depends whether we define steam and how we define the torque of the locomotive. Are we talking torque at start
Well-
or torque at 10 miles an hour?
The other one is...
Well, how do you measure Superman?
well,
Is it torque or horsepower?
I was going to say, technically your torque shouldn't change. It's the horsepower.
Yes, it's the horsepower that I'm thinking of. I
You
said
mean
the wrong
Superman
thing.
power.
What is the horsepower of a Superman?
Exactly.
That's a brain or a head canon that I have, is that the term superpower comes from trains.
I mean, I don't know if we can find an instance of it before, like, Lima's superpower.
When the first
Or sure.
when the first Burke was built. Well, that's well and truly shot down. But have you ever found an instance of it being used before then? Superpower in a nation sense came, basically after the war.
Well, no, that's what I mean. I think you're right if you can't find an example of it from before Lima's superpower. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What have we been doing? I know you had dumpster days. You want to talk about that?
Not really. I mean, it's Thomas. There's not much to talk
You can
about.
sit down on the couch. You can say whatever you want to us.
Show me on the doll where the dumpster touched you. Yeah, it's Thomas. Honestly, my takeaway for the day is I forget how much fun it is to run the loop diesel, because our diesel at the museum is a switch diesel through and through. It's pretty basic. It's just kind of Yeah, you put it in forward or backward, you pull the throttle open, release the brake, and you're going, son.
Yeah, but you can go
This
off the
thing
road with that
run-
one.
Yeah. This thing operates like... It's almost like a mini tunnel motor, even in the way that it cools. It's set up like a tunnel motor for the fans.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a neat little engine to run.
Is there a
But
picture of it? I would like to see
that's
it.
really my only takeaway. Otherwise, it's just another year of Thomas. Whoop-de-doo. Oh, 20 broke her smokestack boss today because, of course, she did.
Because it's been a little while since it's been worked on.
It's been a while since she caused us pain, so I suppose it's
Has
about
it,
that
though?
time of the month. Well,
How
we
long's a
haven't-
while?
honestly, the reason she's doing this is because we haven't been paying much attention to her lately. We've been repainting Diesel number 4, our Diesel,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen
and
the pictures
haven't worked on 20.
I think on Jeff's Instagram.
Yeah,
TBA said
you
he
like
wanted
it?
It looks really good.
TBA
Yeah, I
said he
like
wanted
it.
a picture of the Loop Diesel. What is it?
Oh, yes. Is there a picture?
Hang on, let me find one.
Well, while he goes and looks for that, what else have we been doing? Jader, have you been to Hocking lately?
Yeah, I was up there. Let's see, this past Sunday, the Saturday when I moved into school, and the Saturday before that. I've been slowly getting the hang of, and hopefully before the year is out, or at least before the school year is out, I can get fully marked up as a brakeman.
Nice. Brakeman is good for you.
Yeah, I
I
love it.
was going to go up to Portola to see the Western Pacific Railroad Museum.
Yeah, what happened? I was excited for that. Like,
Yeah,
I wanted
was
to
too.
live
I really want to
vicariously.
go. I really wanted to go. And then my friend who was going with me, like, bailed on me and basically told me to F off, so I'm like,
Oh.
I don't even want to go now.
Well, that's rude.
I was just like, dude.
I would have
And,
gone with you.
Hell yeah, dude, that would have been so much fun.
Next time I'm down there. What is down there anyway? That's what, the Western Pacific Museum?
Yeah, so
That's
there's
Mark's
like a
museum.
whole bunch of Jeep 9s and like early EMD engines. It's cool. I don't know if they have Steam because I don't know that much about it. That's why I really want to go. It's something new to explore.
Mm-hmm.
But they let you like climb around on all the stuff and don't really care. Like cabs are unlocked. You can get in them and stuff.
That's
And
cool.
so I think it would be really fun to go up there and hang out for a while.
Yeah, I mean it's really cool to just wander around a place like that, even if there's not much going on. Like Railfest was,
That's
I
like
think.
Steamtown almost.
Yeah, I was about to say Railfest was, I think, a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. And I mean, I wish I could have made it down, even if not much is going on. And frankly, Steamtown during Railfest, there's typically a lot going on. But you know, it's entertaining, even just to be like, oh, look at this, oh, look at this, you know. Especially if you haven't
We're
been
gonna
there.
watch this!
Yeah,
Yeah, but what else is cool is sometimes Union Pacific, because it's like, I guess it's right by the the main line.
mm-hmm.
So sometimes UP will have like a heritage unit out there or something.
Oh, that's cool. Well, in Steamtown you get Alcos.
Alcos!
Oh my, Alco!
Can I have your Alcos?
Can I have your Alcos? I forgot that was a Gmod meme.
Yeah,
Started by, I think, Mason.
it was. Well,
There's,
wasn't it you?
No, it was
Yeah, it was Jader. Jader, can I have your Alcos?
Well, no.
Yeah, because Jader had a really good set of
Mason first, like,
RS3s.
he was the one that asked, and now it's just.
Was it Mason?
No, it
Yeah.
was Crayfish.
Oh, Crayfish, sorry, I
Oh,
heard
yeah,
Mason.
you're right.
No, he did say
Well, I
Mason.
was-
Listen,
Oh.
I remember.
I remember. Pepperidge
Anyway.
Farm remembers.
So
Simple Ricks.
I've done like nothing real. I mean
I've been playing lots and lots of
Be real.
Ren
that's almost real. It's not though.
which I want to start doing like streams every Saturday.
I will
of
watch
just a
them.
Ren session because I don't know. It's fun.
I mean, if ever
And
you do
it's-
one during a weekday, I'm just gonna watch at work.
Yeah.
I mean, you're usually working, but
Well, with the slow winter season coming up, it might be more
more at home.
prevalent.
Does your company furlough for the winter, TBA?
No, they just kind of give us. They kind of will be like, "Hey, do you want the day off?" And
They
we'll be
dial
like,
it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get pretty slow, and they just slow the hours down.
That works.
Yeah, I get to keep being busy. I've got Texas High Speed Rail coming up as a project at work. I've got a bunch of other things that are not rail related, and meanwhile I'm just being a commuter. And actually I saw something pretty cool yesterday because I was up in Boston for work, as I do, and I'm just walking out of the train station. I look down at the subway line, which is running in a trench down there, and I see one of the brand new Orange Line sets, which I don't even think are in service yet. And I was surprised to see it because I figured if they're not in service, if they're just testing them, they probably don't want to run them around during rush hour because they'll just take up space. So I don't know if they're in service then. If they're in service now, that'd be really cool. But it's the only one I've seen.
Well, there's an easy way to find this out.
Yeah.
Soft launch.
I mean,
I saw the
You'd
Charger
wish.
on the Capitol Corridor the other day.
Ugh. I have an irrational hatred of Chargers.
I
Yeah,
I was
know.
going to say that was a pronounced yuck.
Oh, I remember from last time.
Oh, that's gotten worse. It's gotten
I'm sure
worse.
it has. I am of the opinion that I will take anything at this point. Anything that is not a P-42, because they kept leaving us in the desert. Like, I will take a dude on a handcar. At least it doesn't just stop.
Every farmer
Handcar
member.
over Charger. Bloody hell.
Goes on it.
Who would you rather have moving the handcar? The Pepperidge Farms guy or a guy that's, the beans man?
You know what we should have done for Locomotive Versus?
Hey, Weibel, the answer to that is another question. The question is, who smoked more cocaine or who smoked more crack?
He's gonna,
Beans.
he's gonna go fast.
He's gonna be like, I'm ready to fly.
Beans.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Me and the boys at 3 a.m. looking for beans.
That was not a good
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, we should have done Chargers versus the P-42.
I mean, we don't do diesel versus, but
I know, but that should be a thing at some point, because that could be entertaining.
the loop.
We did it once and never
Loops.
tried again.
I'll pull up the picture of 130 just to show everybody.
Yeah, there's the loop diesel.
And I don't have much
It's fun to
else.
run.
Yeah.
It's actually got anti-slip control. Well, it doesn't have anti-slip control, but it's got a slip indicator.
It does have anti-slip control. That's called U.
Well, yeah.
You are the anti-slip
But it actually has notches, and at the head of an 8-car train coming up a 4% grade in notch 8 is really cool. I don't care if you're on a half-mile circle. That's a cool feeling.
Well, it just means you have to do that repeatedly. It means you have the fun part every about 20 minutes.
Over and over and over. No, it's much, much sooner than that. We have to run 20 minutes minimum for the trips.
Yeah.
And which is usually about 4 laps if you're crawling, or about 5 laps if I'm running.
Oh, jeez.
Because I don't hate firemen.
Well,
With the steam engine, you can't go that slow without the fireman coming across the cabin beating you with a scoop. I know, because there have been many occasions where I've wanted to come across the cab and beat my engineer with a scoop.
stop doing this to me.
Go faster!
Wait, what's the problem? Well, how slow are
See-
you guys going?
Thomas trains, if you're running correctly, are typically like walking pace.
God.
You're just rolling?
Yep. Well, and
They're
they're
rolling down.
they're especially bad because the steam engine does this weird. There's this weird kind of duality that it gets. It simultaneously has too much steam and will not make steam. There's no draft because you're not really working at all. And at the same time, you've got way too much steam because you're not using any. You're just like plodding along.
Mm-hmm.
I digress.
Plotting. Yeah, anyway.
Plotting. Plodding.
Yeah,
Word of the day.
absconded.
Absconded.
Anyway. Thanks. I don't know how we got there, but okay.
That's the thing of the day.
Right. Anyway, so lately, things have been heating up on Tolbrand, or really I should say more like cooling down, because we've got a lot of nice forest cover that we did not have before. As in the last couple of weeks, I think I've built 4 miles worth linearly of forest along the VMR, which doesn't sound like a lot,
Nice.
but when you're only working 2 hours a week, it's quite a bit. You know, compared to the lethargic pace, relatively speaking, of doing like 2 blocks of a town over the course of an episode, sitting down and going, alright, we've got all this grass down, let's put all these trees down, and rounding out the episode, zooming out, like, look at all this new green area.
Trees!
I feel the exact same way.
Yeah. Now,
You know, I've kind of been wanting to play some Tane again.
you should
I need
like,
to reinstall Tane.
I haven't touched it in so long.
Good for you.
That's, yeah. I mean, I always encourage more root building. I just want to review stuff. I don't care if
I'll
it's...
have one for you before too terribly long.
I don't care if it's 4 tiles or 40.
I mean, I would say you could review my route, but it's 419,
At
and
this
you don't
point,
have
I
19.
don't-
I do
Or you
have
don't
19.
That's true, actually. That's true, actually. Mine will be for 19 as well.
I have 19. I just haven't installed it yet.
Well,
I'll get to it. Listen, if I get a route review that's like, this is in 19, I will do it. I'll just install 19.
Yeah. But anyway, speaking of routes and trains for 2019, I'll start from the beginning. So earlier this week, I decided to bite the bullet and get a new graphics card.
Woohoo.
I love having a computer science major as a roommate, so he hooked me up.
Nice.
I got a GTX 1650,
Nice.
Dang.
and I can run not super high frames, but at least it's steady, like anywhere between like 16 and 30 with a train running through super dense scenery, which is fine. But I've basically went ham on the Southeast Ohio lines because I can finally do scenery without wanting to die. And I put pictures of it
Right.
of the progress in the chat. That's all
Alright,
within the last.
let me pull up some of these
whole-
pitches.
That's all within the last like 2.5 days.
I love the orange.
Is this in Tane?
This is in 19.
Trees.
I love me some trees.
How does 19
Trees.
run, actually? Like,
Better
how
than
does it-
Tane.
better than
is
Tane.
it Really?
That's,
It's very nice.
that's
Which
the main
game?
reason. Whenever somebody brings up like getting a new version of Trains, because there are still a few people
Oh.
in the group that talk about, well, I'm still on Trains 2012 or whatever. I'm looking at getting it. I'm hoping to get Tane soon. I'm just like, don't. Just skip it. Just go straight to 19. It's not
Yeah,
worth it.
skip Tane. Skip Tane, definitely.
I have
It was-
it, but I don't have it.
It was
installed.
cool at the time, but it's been completely outclassed in every way by 19.
hmm
Really?
Unlike
Yes.
most of the other versions of Trains, where the performance got worse as you went later, the performance has gotten better. There's no reason to do Tane.
Now, is Tane is 19 backwards compatible with Tane content?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay.
Except
For
for like
typical
routes,
trains fashion.
you can't really go backwards. But,
Yeah, well, you can't bring the
trains
routes
and-
backwards.
Right, but trains and shit.
You
yeah,
can't- To
trains
clarify,
go
you
with
can't
it.
bring Train's 2019 stuff into Tane. You can bring anything from Tane into 19, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'd be a lot of stuff to bring, but
Just do it piece by piece. Just like,
Just do it one piece at a time.
Yeah, thank you. Whenever...
just be like, whenever I want it, just go grab it.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend. Because if you think about it, you probably have way more stuff than you actually need or regularly use.
Yeah.
I know I sure do.
I have all the KNL stuff I have. I rarely use it.
Yeah. Well, at least that stuff is nice to have. There are some things where it's like, wow, I'm never going to use this.
I mean,
Like the-
Your
I
DLC
run-
Mikado.
I
Or
was
DLC
going to bring that up.
But like all the JR content, I would want that.
Mm-hmm. A lot of JR content is now on the DLS.
And a lot of it's in
Awesome.
in 19 as well.
Yeah, that's right. It's just built in.
And it looks so fucking
Oh, cool.
good.
It does most of the time, but a lot of the JR stuff, at least from 12, is broken because of the shadows. They did, because a lot of the train's 12 stuff, they had kind of the shadows built into the object. And at the time, it's like, wow, this is a really nice object. It's got shadows and everything. But now that we have an actual shading engine, it breaks it. It doesn't work. Like, the shadows look way too dark.
Now it's turned into convince Avi to get
Yeah.
18.
Do it.
Because-
if you have the extra money.
Do it. Do it.
Do it on a sale.
Do it.
Lindsay,
Anyway.
let me know when
Do
next
it
time
on
goes
margin.
on sale.
Is my DoorDash guy lost? Oh, no, there he is. He's on the map.
I need
My
to
bees
get.
burger was supposed to be here 12 minutes ago.
I need to get myself a few things aside from K&L things, like real life things, because I have officially begun the process of taking over as head of electrical, and after a couple weeks of work, or a few hours really, because only there for a couple hours every week, I have fully wired a siding for the first time ever. So
Sweet.
we now have the Blackstone Valley Grain Co-op in the branch line on the Providence Northern is wired and ready for service. It needs a tortoise, but everything works. Although
Okay.
somebody
Tortoise.
was really overzealous with the gravel, and so the railhead is really close to the gravel.
Don't you hate it when people do that?
Yeah. So
Yep.
I was having trouble driving across it because, well, it kept lifting me off of the track.
This is what screwdrivers are for.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm not going to dig into it. I'm sure the complaint will be brought up to the scenery committee at the next meeting.
Oh, just take
I gotta
screwdriver
I
and
gotta get out to the
yeah,
You guys
take
have, like,
screwdriver and rake it along the
individual
inside of the
groups?
rail.
That's cool.
We have individual groups, but they're really individual people. Like, I am the head of the electrical committee. I'm also the entire electrical committee. Although Roland is training me. JB is the track and scenery committee.
So he does all the track and
Yep.
scenery stuff?
Walt is
JB
the-
does. So you're the electrical committee, and JB does everything else.
No. Because we have, like, signals, and, they're their own committee. We have operations. What are the other committees that we have? I don't know. There are a bunch of them. I forget them all. I mean, we've got, like, the public outreach, which I believe is the education committee, or department, or whatever we want to call it.
I'm assuming track work.
Yeah, well, that's under JB, Track and Scenery. We also have, like, the person who does the finances. We have the Secretary of the Treasury. And what's one more that I can't think of right now? We have education. We also have, like, the website.
What does TJ do?
TJ? TJ we threw out.
Oh,
Wait, what?
No, he's...
why?
Well, he stopped...
Oh, that's right. He's in college.
He stopped being an official member a while ago because he didn't want to pay the dues. And then he went away to
That's-
college.
Right.
So, there's that.
Bum.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can always bring him there, but yeah, no, he should. I paid dues while I was away at college, so.
I would have, but my club
Dissolved.
went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Press F to
Oof.
pay
I
respects.
went away to college, and then everything fell apart, and the caboose followed me.
Oh, hey, I actually found a model railroad club.
You should join
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's out in Woodland. If you guys know where Woodland is, but it's in this mall that's like empty.
it. Yikes.
Yeah,
Pardon me.
but they have N scale.
Okay, well, that's cool.
I
I
don't know. I
just
kind of
wish-
want to go and look at it, but because I've kind of been wanting to get into it again,
Do it. It's a great way to do it
it'd
without,
be something to do.
Yeah.
It's a
And if
great way
it's
to.
in a club, they're a little bit more, or in a mall at least, they have a space, they're more established.
Yeah.
I just wish I could find a club where I didn't, get rammed twice a night.
Yeah.
Especially with that Penzian 5 I run, I want it in one piece at the end of the night.
They'll just run into you?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Like,
They're in the other room yakking, oh yeah, I got this new engine, it's so pretty. Slam! Oh shit, I hit Nate's caboose again.
Man, if somebody did that... If somebody did that at our club, they would not be in the club anymore.
I turned on a few people.
They wouldn't have made it in the first place.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's a big yikes.
I'm not thrilled with that situation, but that is a rant for another time.
Mm-hmm.
My club, or at least on Kid Night, it's fine, but, it's like me and, I guess, my close friends, we know what we're doing. And then there's the kids that literally just show up, put their, they throw their train on. And this one kid, he always has, and, people have, gone out and, bought him KD couplers and stuff. But he runs a big, like a 20-car train or whatever of really shitty, Tyco cars and Lifelike cars, all with horn hooks.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
It derails. No added weight or anything. It derails constantly.
Once again, stuff is not allowed in our layout if it doesn't have normal couplers.
The rule of my old club was KD couplers, metal wheels, and screwed coupler boxes, or you ain't playing.
We don't even really have rules for that. I mean, we have recommendations, but no,
Getting a little bit off topic here. We had a train of flexi vans run down the helix and clobber. It clobbered. I think it was 611 when the MTH 611s at the bottom of the hill, and my 1950s drag freight was sitting right next to it. Split over the next 3 tracks because the train was 80, 90 cars at that point, and I would have to triple it over every night. So I just put it away, and it got clobbered, and I think the rear 5 to 10 cars of each track were derailed.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's a
nuts.
different club. That was a runaway. Stuff happens, but...
Yeah. Still, though. Yikes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean...
Getting on to... Go ahead.
I mean, I was just going to say, I haven't done much else at the... I was just going to try to capitalize on the model railroad thing, because... Though I don't know what else I had to say. I just took down Lee, and I switched out Blackstone Valley Grain after I finished wiring it up. That was fairly entertaining. And of course I got a million comments from people who were like, what is a steam engine doing? Or, I hear something funny. And of course I've got
acquired Bees Churger,
the Mogul, and a bobber caboose. The only bobber caboose on the layout, which is actually also possibly the heaviest caboose on the layout.
Nice.
So, just running that around.
Capitalizing on the small steam for a minute, what I've been working on lately, there are 2 links there. The one on the farthest to the left on the dock, the leftmost one is, I believe, the engine and tender that I've been working on. This started life as a Bachmann Alco 260 that I've been slowly bashing into the East Jordan Southern number 6.
Cool.
How did you take the valve kit off?
Gently. Just went at it. The cylinders on this engine are slide valves. So I basically went around the top, cut them off, and then pulled the hangers on both sides, and then undid the eccentric, and then cut the linking lever on the bottom of the crosshead off. And
I want to get
filed it.
Another one of these Moguls.
I've been working on 2. This one, the pictured is the 6, and the other photo is the tender work I've been doing, new decal, or new rivets. I found a photo of the engine, I really started looking at the rivets and went, wait, these are up and down. Well, that's wrong. Shit, now I've got to, completely redo them. So I've completely redone the rivets on the side of the tank. I got a couple of brass derailleurs, went, oh, hey, these still have the mounts on them. Well, the 6 has it in a box. So I filed the mounts off on the little brass castings. Built myself boxes to hang the derailleurs on. The trucks have been swapped out with Katie, I think they're 506 pickup arch bars. The top of the tender tank off the Bachmann 260s was completely cut off. And I've got the new coal railing up on the sides. I've got the wood bunker retainer is in. That's what if you look at the tender, only the top of that. That's the rear piece inside the tank, between kind of near the water fill cap. Then I've got the old coal wood is back covered up. I had to build myself a little case to cover up the capacitors in there for the decoder, but everything works. Both of these engines still have sound, and surprisingly, the two of them will pull 14 cars up a 2% hill.
Wow.
So do the headlights work?
Yes.
Okay.
The tender lights will too, once I mount them up. They were on the left, I needed to move them to the right. Small change, but accurate.
Those are always the ones that confound me, is, rewiring lights.
It's really not too bad. Oh, and then on the 6's tender, I have the front coal bunker doors complete. The 8 I get to build a wood cab for. That's going to be a pain.
Dang.
Can't wait to see these when they're done.
Yeah, no
They've
kidding.
been fun. I'll lead in the other thing I've been doing hobby-wise all the way to the right in my links is I've been building a fleet of these little 2-axle G-scale gondolas. And I only have parts to build about 20 of them. Each one has been... All the boards have been done up by hand, glued together. They started as the little Heartland models, 2-axle flat cars. I've been wood decking each one, planking individually, and then all the rivets are done. This one has old rivet styles I've moved on, but I don't have one convenient to take a photo of. But again, I'm doing like 20 of these, and I've been building some slate cars too, but I don't have a photo of those.
Well, great work as always.
I work in a hobby shop, and there's a bit of free time, so I get paid to work on trains. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it is impressive.
I may as well just finish up here. I have one more thing I've been working on, and that's the other two links. That's the Sugarbush Railroad. That is a 1/8 scale railroad, privately owned, that we've been working on. The two photos I have are a bridge we've been redoing. This bridge started life as an 80-foot long bridge. We've been slowly rebuilding the entire length of the bridge. We may be knocking about 20 feet off and turning that into a fill. But it's probably about a half mile to a mile of track around a guy's house, and we've been doing a lot of work on it, getting it back up to a running standard. And it's the first time it's been used in like 15 years. So, yeah, hey, progress.
Dark.
Das ist what I have.
Das ist.
Nice.
Das ist.
Well, sort of staying on the kit bashing models theme, I had a little bit of time last week. So, transfer caboose that I've been slowly working on, and I finally got the box together. I just need to get something for the floor, add the roof, make new handrails for each end, get new trucks, which I have some trucks at home laying around that I think will work. I just need to go home and actually check. But yeah, that's slowly coming along. And then I don't have a picture of it, but the 262 that I've been slowly working on is coming together. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to get the saddle tank to mount to the frame, and I have an idea. I just haven't finished it yet.
What road is the transfer caboose going to be painted in? What are you building it up as?
It's probably just going to be Raccoon Creek. It's based off. I think I just Googled transfer cabooses one night.
Okay.
And let me see if I can find it.
Milky's not here. Caboose.
Caboose.
Milky's not here. He can't hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is.
It's funny. Milky's not here, and yet we've got so much Milky-centric news, but I'll get to some of that later. Including stuff that Milky saw. Spoiler alert.
Basically
4449.
this.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's really funny, because I was going to make a comment about using the boxcar ends for it. But,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not-
actually looking really good.
Thanks. I might go and add like rivets and stuff, but I'm not sure. I might just have it where, like they just welded it together.
I have
For
a
what
couple
it's
of,
worth, you'd be amazed how well the little water slide rivets tie them all
yes,
together.
that's what I was just about to say.
They add a lot.
As I move my miniature tanks.
The other one is you can get, I don't know if Evergreen makes them or if you could get them from like CalScale or something. You can get those windows because they're slightly raised with the gasket and rounded at the corners. And you could just stick it over the hole.
Those are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What are
Titchy
they
may do
like
them too,
called?
actually.
Oh, Titchy did them?
Maybe. I'd have to look. You could even just
sure
cut a
you-
little piece of
regardless.
that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really tiny styrene. That's the thing. He's got the hole cut for it in the styrene, but you need, like, the gasket and the actual thing to just, like, stick on, and it looks good. It looks perfect. It's done.
Yeah, Jader, look up the Hasegawa. They do a rivet
the
that's like
what?
a
Hold on. How do you
not
spell
too
that?
5. Just go, let's see. The website that they're giving me is hdwmodels.cz. And they're basically they're meant for doing military stuff. They're 132 decals, but they are perfect for like doing HO rivets. That's what I did the tender with the 6 on.
I think I found it.
And I think they're what was it?
Oh.
Hobby Time was blowing them out because they're going out of production. So if you can get them, they're really cheap right now.
dang.
All right. I might have to. I'm gonna have to write that down, but I might have to, go and order. I'm just gonna be ordering a bunch of detail parts for this. I need to get some brass to make the handrails.
This is the flip side of working in a hobby. There's all sorts of deals that you find that you really don't need, but they're just too good to pass up.
Yeah.
I have one of the new K4s, by the way. Kind of
course.
related.
The
I mean-
semi-streamlined ones.
I have one of the semi-streamlined ones. I have one of the new Broadway long haul tendered K4s, and I have one of the lowy streamlined K4s.
I'm not even the
I like
slightest
the
bit
partial
surprised.
more than the torpedo.
I'm going to have both.
I just like the torpedo.
Speaking of
Turbo
K4s,
turd.
mine finally. I'm basically done with mine. Like I kind of just want it gone.
Okay, let me know. We'll work with that, buddy.
Is it
Let me
still
know.
broken?
Okay. Long story short, so we can move on to something else. But I took it to the club one night
Oh, no.
because we have wheel gauges there. I don't have one, and I think a couple of the lead wheels or something were narrow. So I fixed those, and I'm going through. I'm checking everything else. I think one of the driver sets was off, so I tried to fix that, and then I ended up screwing up the quartering real bad. And I just haven't had the time. I just haven't had the time and the patience to fix it.
Let me know.
Jeez.
I've been trying to get that engine from you for years.
Do you have enough specific to trade for it?
I only have 7 K4s. I can get you a K4 that will run better.
Do you have any US or A Pacifics?
No.
Damn it. Okay. I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know.
I'm gonna write it down so I actually remember. Have a little
Why
sticky note.
K4s? They're
The K4 trade
Because they're beautiful machines.
they're highly meh.
for you.
You're highly meh.
E6s and G5s look better. Changed my mind.
Okay, the
Hey,
E6s do look
Broadway.
sweet, but the K4s are
G5s.
awesome.
G5s are
It's
nice.
like, hey, Broadway, make something new, please. If they made a G5, I would buy one. I want a 10 that isn't one of the. As much as I love the Bachman Spectrum ones, it's literally those, the old Tyco Sierra number 3 ones, or brass. I want a Hocking Valley 10 wheeler, and nobody makes them, or nobody
Fair.
makes something close. Well, I take that back, but. Anyway.
Anyway. I ones are the best.
I have.
H10s, man. H10s are where it's at.
I only have 3 of those.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
actually,
can
an H10
Can you
and
get
2
me an H10 for
H9s.
cheap?
Not one of the BLIs.
Well, what's the other option then?
The Bowsers.
Ew. Ew.
So long, you Bowser.
Ew.
They weigh a hell of a lot, and they pull like tanks.
Yeah, and
I
they
mean-
look like crap.
Once you detail them up, once you detail them up, they're not bad.
Ugh.
I mean, I kind of want one because they
Next, you're
ran.
going to suggest getting a Mantua engine.
No,
I mean, I've got one.
Mantua, you went to
They
51
did
though.
the E7s.
Ugh.
one of my friends got one of the Mantua 2662s for I think $25,
Yep, that's what they're worth.
and it's a piece of shit. I mean, it's cool.
Regear it and bash it.
No,
I
don't
think
bash.
he already sold it.
Yeah, bash it. As in, pick it up and throw it against the nearest wall as hard as you can.
Watch
No,
it shatter into teeny little
not
pieces.
my Hercules.
Hercules! Hercules!
Can't bash it into something else. Hell, go in 130 with it. Have fun.
Just turn it into...
Or just buy an ON32662.
There's a price difference there.
Yeah,
Well, no, if you get it new from Mantua, there really isn't a price difference.
Well, if you find one used at a good price, they're like, $25, and you can get the 130 ones are like $125.
Well,
see,
yeah, but the ON31s aren't nearly as fun to throw against a wall.
the takeaway there is that everybody except for Mantua knows what Mantua products are worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, hey, Mantua is now Lionel.
Yeah, well,
That doesn't make it better.
it means it's going to get
worse.
more expensive.
Completely off topic here, but, well, it's actually on topic, but completely off brand. Tata, the Indian car manufacturing that is responsible for the monstrosity that is the Nano, has bought Jag.
Hold the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am now very disappointed.
Also, Fiat
Yep.
now owns... What did they buy?
What else did they buy?
Chrysler?
Well, yeah, they've owned Chrysler for a
Yes,
while.
Chrysler. Yes, Fiat bought Chrysler, and that is terrifying.
They bought Chrysler in like 2012.
Yeah.
It's not a world I want to live in. Is that why everything's been going downhill since 2012? It's when Fiat bought Chrysler.
No,
that's the
that's
turning
when
point.
the world ended. But no, but Fiat's have been getting so much better.
The
Fiats
end
are
of
not
the
fixing
world
again,
as
Tony.
we know it.
There's still a Fiat.
Yeah, but what's in a name? They're not bad cars.
What's in the name? An acronym?
Fix it again, Tony.
Thank you. Also,
Let's see.
although that's not nearly as bad as a Tata Jag. That's
Ta-ta!
that's actually disgusting.
Well,
So I just want to touch on, I guess two more. Well, yeah, two more things. Let's see. So a few weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago now, me and 3 of my friends from the museum, we all went down to the LM&M to go foam around and ride behind Sadie. She was in town for a couple weekends for
yay!
a few trips.
Shiny.
Yeah, I tried to do some artsy stuff with the flowers around the depot, and I think it worked. Should have had the flowers in focus, but yeah, it worked.
Well, focus schmocus.
Yeah, and then the following Saturday marked 150 years since the first freight train left Nelsonville for Columbus, and we did our own little 150th celebration, which I loved it. But
Because when you realize what you really want.
well, see, the whole thing.
Yes,
with
the
it,
Mormons.
It felt very,
Of course, the Mormons.
well, see, I loved it. Like we did a good job with it, but it felt very, very rushed. Like the whole thing was over in about a half hour.
Aw.
Mm.
Well,
How long did it take for the train to get there?
I got there. The trains were already there.
Excuse
No,
you.
I mean
Jesus
the thing. What?
Christ. Excuse you, Jesus Christ.
Excuse me.
It sounded like you were just like, ooh.
I was kind of hoping that the mic didn't hear that. Related note: the Beesturger has been defeated, as well as a side of fries and a black cherry IBC.
Jesus Christ.
It was very good, though.
I tried Moxie again.
Oh,
It was good for about
nice.
for about 2 seconds, and then it was terrible for the following 10. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that again.
Oh, you just have to give it. You just have to get used to the taste. It's an acquired taste.
Throw it down the back of your throat. Big shot of vodka.
As a Michigander who has no idea, I'm assuming it's a drink.
It is a drink. It's basically cough syrup, but they're passing it off as soda.
It's not basically cough
It
syrup.
is basically cough syrup.
Cough syrup at least tastes like cherry. Moxie doesn't taste like anything.
Yes, it does. It tastes like cough syrup.
What kind of cough syrup do you have?
What kind of cough syrup genuinely tastes like cherry?
The Moxie kind.
None.
Exactly.
At least they're like they're trying to imitate cherry. Moxie isn't trying to imitate cherry. It's just a
No,
thing.
it's trying to imitate cough syrup.
It's not.
It clearly
It's
is.
like I thought of what Moxie is
Bad.
a couple of weeks ago. No. I can't.
This was entertaining.
Besides that, I can't remember what it was.
Anyway.
like way of describing it. Anyway,
Oh, I've got to
Is
wait.
it time?
It's time.
is it time for? Hang on, sorry. Ow!
Now you know.
I'm sorry, it was just the perfect opportunity.
For the record, I'm glad we're cracking up at this because I was so disappointed at work on Friday. Totally off topic. So disappointed at work on Friday. We're having a meeting. They're complaining about the size of things in a CAD drawing that they were too small. And I just slipped in the middle of this argument about how that could have happened. I just slipped in. Well, it's really how you use it, and nobody laughed.
Oh.
And I was crushed.
They're like, shut up, Ellis.
No, nobody even said anything. I think people know
they
better
just
now.
They just didn't hear.
I
Can you get
don't
an
know.
F in chat?
Anyway,
Yeah, let's get Rip in the chat. Anyway, got a
you.
2 for this week.
we in one corner, and I'll post my picture again, or one of the pictures again, so that I can get this in there. In one corner, we have the Boston and Maine B-15B, otherwise known as Lee, for those familiar. Although technically, Lee was a B-15A. He was never superheated, but anyway. In the other corner, we have. Hold on 1 second. We have. I need to scroll up. It is Alco 260. What is this thing again? The most generic
it depends
260
which
on the
photo
planet.
Pretty much. It depends which photo you post.
Well, just post the one down here that you want me to use, so I don't have to
Hang
go
on.
find it.
Eat. Grabbing, processing,
Beast troll.
processing.
Except I'm reading it. I'm reading it everywhere. Jon Snow. You know nothing,
Okay.
Jon Snow.
We are going to go with that photo, but there is a wall shirts version too. So we'll go with specs off the wall
Too
shirts
fatty.
version.
We're going with baloney.
Why would you choose wall shirts over Baker?
Because, well, this
Well, this
thing
one's
had Baker
Stevenson.
too.
Stevenson.
Oh, is it? I'm
Yeah.
not looking,
That
sorry.
one I posted is Stevenson.
You said there was a Baker version.
There is a Baker, there is a wall shirts version, there is the Stevenson's version.
It's
These
incredibly
things
generic.
are everywhere.
Ugh.
Okay.
Damn it. I want a cheeseburger now.
Bees
Perfect.
Charger.
Beast charger.
I'm honestly about to walk uptown and get a burger.
Wait till the podcast over.
Uptown Grill.
I really
That's
wish I could walk.
That's literally what the place is called.
I really wish I
Nice.
could walk to the Wendy's down the street any time of the day because they're open till 4 a.m. But they close the dining room at like 10. So I have to walk. I have to drive there. I have to drive for 30 seconds to get to the Wendy's if I want food past
You
10
can't
p.m.
just walk through the drive-thru?
No, you're not allowed to do that. Unfortunately.
good.
Why not?
It's 2019. You can
Because
identify as a
apparently, you could get hit by a car.
Well,
apparently,
don't
it's-
do that.
You know. Anyway,
So-
so in one corner we have the B&M Moguls, which they made like a gajillion of, and in the other corner we have the Alco Moguls, which they made like 200 bajillion of.
Mhm.
So anyway, I'll be
Billions and
representing
billions.
these things, and Rail will be representing the other things. So who do we want to go first here?
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I know these things better.
Okay. Oh god. Well, which
Pasta
again
linguine.
we're specifically doing what? Because obviously we can't.
The GBW,
Okay,
as
the
they have the
GBW.
most specs, but I'll back those up with the specs
Okay.
I have on 6.
All right. So I think I know where I will have an advantage here. Just at a glance.
Is the numbers.
That's bad. I just looked at something. That's bad.
I mean, that's probably your factor of adhesion just because you knew it right off the bat. It's not relative to his stats, it's just an absolute.
Yep,
Is that correct?
that is correct. Anyway,
Yep.
so I'll be sure not to ask that. Well, actually, I should say there is another thing. There are more than one thing that you can look at and go, "Wow, that's bad." But I'm going to go with the thing that is also bad, but I think you might not have it. So,
Okay.
what is your superheating surface?
Superheating surface. Damn, I was hoping you wouldn't start with that one. I have 233 square feet.
It's okay, I only have 302. But you
Oh.
do have it, which is surprising to me. So that puts us on much more of an even footing than I was
Okay.
hoping for.
You were hoping?
Yeah, so I'm. I assumed I was going to be way down in style points, so I figured I'd pick something a little bit newer, and maybe I could squeeze out a few more points here before we got into the part where he's going to grind me down.
Okay.
So, okay, let's follow this up with something more legitimate. Let me look at this real quick. What's your driver diameter?
My driver diameter for the GBW2 is 56 inches.
56. All right, I'm 63.
Okay.
Need that speed.
Yes, but torque for low end, we're
I know, but that matters for
engine switching.
for other things. Now, because I won that by so much, I'm going to avoid something else. Although
I know what you're avoiding.
Yeah. Although this might do me in. Now I kind of want to know. What are your cylinders?
Cylinders.
Round.
Let's see.
Thanks.
Great
Did ask.
observation.
Hot.
Steamy.
Cylindrical.
Okay, stroke and bore. 19 by 26.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Also 19 by 26.
Oh.
I mean,
All right. Well, you
it's
have.
interesting that you say stroke and bore because it's actually the other way around.
Actual.
Or diameter. Yeah, I said it wrong.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Although no, stroke and bore is what? That's automotive.
Mhm.
yeah.
That is a thing. It's just not for locomotives.
If they were the other way around, that'd be some strange cylinders. But anyway.
They're
Anyway,
like
all
dinner
right.
plates.
All right. Jake, you're up then.
Tractive effort.
And this is where I would go. This is where things go poorly for me. 25,327 pounds.
I have 25,644 pounds.
Wow, that is a lot closer than I expected.
Hmm.
Okay.
Within 300 foot-pounds. Or foot-pounds. Yeah.
Libfoots.
Okay. Firebox area.
No, perfectly symmetrical violence won't solve anything. That'd be 158 square feet.
174.
Uh-oh.
That's less close.
I was really
Okay.
hoping that would go the other way.
Power computation.
Oh boy, here we go. Robert Legacy's
So
already?
bad.
Robert
Yep.
Legacy's power computation? Alright, 60-60.
Really?
Uh-oh. Yay.
Robert Lemessa's power computation, you're at 60-60.
Yeah, you are.
I miss.
Not that.
Not that.
54-36.
54.
F.
Also-
Huh, I did not expect that.
Also, I may point something out just looking at the other classes. So, there is the non-superheated version that came before this. The power computation for the non-superheated version is 60-40. So, the
Wow.
change in power
They
computation...
really didn't do much.
I guess not.
They burn less coal, but
Well, I mean, basically nothing about the engine's changed, I guess, other than that. So, alright, not gonna do that, I guess. Alright, let's do combined heating surface.
Let's see, combined heating surface is 1,349 square
And
feet.
mine is... I just lost it. Where'd it go? 1,748.
Blast.
That's a lot of heating surface. Alright, let's try this one then. Boiler pressure.
Also lower. Boiler pressure is 180 pounds, but let me back that up with Spectrum 6 because I believe she was up to 200.
Okay, well, I'm also 200. So,
Well, let me take a look. Hang on, we have the Alco card for 6.
it's 500.
It's not over 200.
thanks.
Uh,
I did not get to show Madison that trailer yet, but I told her about it.
I actually had dinner with my parents last night, and it was one of the first things that my dad brought up.
Oh, God. Alright, well.
With the exact same reaction that we had. Have you seen this? And what do you feel like with this? And why? Because I'm not sure how to feel.
can confirm 180 pounds, you win.
Ooh. I was almost hoping
Okay.
for a tie there, just to make things a little bit more interesting. Okay,
So-
Alright, well, you know what? I'm going to throw myself on the sword here then, so that things shift around a little bit, because I think this could go either way. What is your factor of adhesion?
Also, I think a little bit less. 4.87.
That is...
Oh!
That's... Mine is 5.05.
Ouch.
Hang on. I'm backing that up with the Alco card because I saw it here. 4.8.
Yeah, still
That's
better than mine.
bad.
Bad, but better
Poor.
than mine.
Yes.
Bad.
Okay.
Ow.
Oh,
So-
Bad, and it should feel bad.
do you have number of tubes and tube diameters?
I do not have the number of tubes in the tube diameter.
Darn.
Poops.
Boiler size.
Funny.
I don't have boiler size, I just know it's bigger than yours.
Oh,
Weren't you the one that was saying something about how it's how you use
Hey,
it?
listen, this is statistics based. I'm not saying this
Okay.
engine could please a woman better, but I am saying that Madison likes it and bought an engine because of it.
I thought that was going a very
Oh,
different
Madison
direction
just came
for a
back in.
second.
Hi, Madison.
What?
So we're comparing this random 260, which apparently Alco made a bajillion of, to basically the real life version of Lee. So I said that this engine inspired you to buy an engine, so therefore this engine is better at pleasing the ladies than this one, and therefore
He also made a dick size joke in there.
Yeah,
hence
that
the
one-
better
Turns
at
it-
pleasing the ladies.
But that looks like it's got a big ass nose. That
lots
one
of
doesn't.
lots of engines do. They just have center mounted headlights.
so does
Yeah,
475.
it doesn't
Not
look
that
well.
good.
Alright,
That's
Madison,
anyway.
Madison
I like the other
doesn't
one
like center mounted headlights. Alright.
Madison
I like
doesn't
the
like
other
large
one
noses.
better.
Alright, well, you don't
So-
get a vote because you're not on the podcast. When you come on the podcast one of these days,
She
you
is
can get a
now.
vote.
So,
Unless you want to put
whose
your
turn
headset
is
on
it?
and sit down. But sorry, we're doing the middle of locomotive versus what's your thing?
what's your minimum weight of rail?
Oh boy. Oh, this is gonna be bad, I think. 71 pounds per yard.
69 pounds per yard.
Alright, I didn't think
Hey.
First of all, nice. Second of all, I didn't think it would be that close.
Although
These
that's-
things are
Uh,
kind of chunk.
Engine weight.
Okay, speaking of chunk.
Well, my vote goes for the other one.
Okay, go away then.
Yes, the Jordan Southern 6.
Let's see. Engine
He's being
weight.
undermined from within.
Thanks. Engine weight, 150,000 pounds.
142,500 pounds.
Yep. Again, I'm surprised it's that close.
Okay. I guess, what's your axle loading?
Axle loading.
Actually, it's blanked out for me. Never mind.
It isn't there for a lot of engines.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of a weird statistic because it
you know
depends a
what?
lot on
Let's-
spring rigging and the condition of the locomotive.
Yeah. Let's go with driver wheelbase.
oh man, I think you win that one. Driver wheelbase is 15 feet even.
14 feet even.
Yeah, you got smaller drivers.
Hell, let's go with engine wheelbase.
All right, 22.75 feet.
21.83.
I have a question.
What's your
Okay.
question?
How many of each were built?
Dear God.
See, I was avoiding this one because he's gonna just pull out like the Alco
Oh.
number.
I'm well aware that you were avoiding this one.
But
I'm not trying to screw you. I'm genuinely curious though, just because I want to see some big numbers.
the B&M. So I'll just break it down like this, even though the first number is fairly irrelevant. The Boston and Maine built 140 of these for starters, numbered 1360, which is Lee, through 1499, and then they superheated 78 of them. So the class that I'm working in right now is 78.
Well,
good.
the GVW themselves ordered 53 of these suckers.
Wow.
53. Jesus.
And that's just one road. Hang on. And then a lot of them, 7 of them were superheated.
How do we do that?
I mean,
Do other roads count? Like for the Berks, did we count Paramarquette and nickel plate
No,
engines
we-
as being the same?
I
No,
don't believe
just
we
stuck
did
to
because
one
we
road.
were doing specifically the nickel plate Berks. I'm not sure if
These
you know.
these were all. They basically, when they did the 260s, they just outshop them, get them ready to go on the road, and then sell them. They were basically the on property. You want this? Here you go. The GBW.
In that case, I've got one for you, Ellis.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Well,
After he
hold on. We
figures
still
out
need to
when
we
they
still
were
need to
built.
finish out who wins this one.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm gonna say I don't have all the numbers in front of me for that. I can come up with 55 of them immediately with proof, but I know there are more. I would have to do some digging. I believe even the Central bought some of these things, but I don't know how many.
God.
Well, I mean, that should just disqualify them. Well,
The
what do-
ATSF bought some of these.
well, what
Actually,
do-
how many did the ATSF buy? I
Ew.
have numbers for that. ATSF.
yeah, now
Alco,
Weibel doesn't like them.
So,
You're not helping yourself.
Well, what do we think? Should this be strictly on the GBW ones, or are we just
Yes.
comparing blankets?
I'm gonna say no because of what comes next.
Oh.
Okay.
oh
no.
We all know what comes next, and it actually gives it some purpose for once.
Oh god.
How many of these were built? Ordered
you know
20.
what? I know.
So that
It's
Actually,
what we
you're
always
right.
do
You're
after how many were built.
you're
It
absolutely
gives
right.
it a purpose.
You're absolutely right. For once, it isn't double dipping. All right, Jake, I'll give you this one.
okay.
And then take it right back.
Yeah. So, Weibold.
What was your number in class?
So for Jake, I know
This
yours
is
was
the same
what,
statistic, but
fif-
road specific.
53 or 55. You said.
53 on the GBW.
3, and then 78 for the Boston and Maine. Anyway, you still have the ball though because those are Weibold's questions.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's continue with statistics here.
Let's see. Valve gear.
Valve gear. Thankfully, all the superheated ones were converted to wall shirts.
Well, these ones specifically are wall shirts, but they were also built with both Baker and slide valves and Stevenson's. So all of the above.
These were originally. See, I don't know how
I mean-
to count that.
I mean, wall shirts is kind of the middle of the range. Baker is definitely a positive. Stevenson is a negative.
Yeah.
all
So
of the above. They cancel out.
All right. Well,
yeah,
just-
they would by all counts cancel out. Although they wouldn't, because then in the end Ellis would have 1 point. Yeah,
No, I guess because if they all cancel out, then the centers on if the positive and negative cancel out, he centers on wall shirts, which I also just have wall shirts.
I would say you tie.
Yeah, the 140 were originally built with Stevenson, and then the 78 were converted. Also, I just noticed the next column over is a set of moguls called the B9 class that were built at the Taunton Locomotive Works, which I've never heard of before, in 1887. Anyway, you were saying?
Okay. The one question I have is power computation, or power
hold
L1.
Hold on. If we tied, I have the ball. Weibel, what were you saying? Alright, never mind. So, let's do... I know I can get a point off of this one. What's your evaporative heating surface?
Evaporative heating surface... 1,116.
Mine is 1,446 square feet.
Okay.
So, alright, what do I want to do next? What do I want to do that won't just do me in? I'm having to tread real lightly here now. I did all of those, and some of them were bad. I did... Ooh, you know what? Evaporative heating surface divided by cylinder volume.
130.8.
169.
Nice.
Thank you.
I was actually surprised you went for that one.
Well, I realized we have the same size cylinders, and I have more evaporative heating surface.
Oh, do you? I thought you had bigger cylinders. Sorry.
No, we were dead.
Nope, exactly the same.
We were
Dead
identical.
on.
Also, I think I may have figured out why.
Hmm?
For Builder.
Alco?
For the original class, Alco.
They're the same cylinders, man.
It's the same pattern. It's the same casting number.
Yep.
Lo and behold, they're the same engine. These are just the ones that the B&M bought.
Well, no, clearly they're not, because the boiler is different.
Well, details.
Anyway. I mean, they could have just enlarged the barrel, but they would have just had to put a new boiler on. Anyway. So, same as above, plus superheater percentage. That's what I want. That's the next one.
Combined.
Same as above, plus
Hang on.
superheater percentage. It's underneath Robert Lamantini's power computation.
6330. Or 6360.
7090. And then... You know what, let's just... this is gonna kill me, isn't it? Oh no, yep, you know what, you know what, we haven't done the backing one for that one, although I feel like it would end poorly for me. So, let's just do power MT.
Power MT is 425.
Holy cow. 630.
My internet cut out, sorry about
Blast.
that.
Ouch.
Like, that almost took 10% of your power.
Like zoinks!
Like, zoinks.
Alright, fine, power L1.
Power L1 is 8040.
Wait, seriously?
Yep.
12,193.
Hang on, what?
Unfathomable cosmic power!
Holy shit.
I don't know where that came from, but I'll take it. Oh, you know what? Probably because I have such larger drivers or something.
I'm suddenly losing this battle.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not.
Okay, fine, let's do it. Same as above, let's substitute firebox area for great area.
36,644.
36,972.
Damn you.
I could actually hear your butt clench there.
Okay.
As he read the first piece of the number and then stumbled and started again. I could hear your lungs just cease.
Oh no.
And then started again.
I mean, when he said 36, I was like, oh, because I had 36,970. I was like, oh, he's gonna be like real close to 37, and if he's gonna beat me. All right, actually, let's do these two because we totally neglected them. Tender water capacity.
5,000 gallons.
Seriously, god damn it. 5,000
You have
gallons.
5,000 gallons.
But yours is less?
All is in my court. So let's go fuel
It's
capacity.
not a very big tender.
All right, fuel capacity. 10.
12 tons.
Seriously? How do you fit 12 tons in that minuscule tender?
I have
Greedy
photos
boards.
you want to see because they're entertaining. I think
Bet
they
you
actually
$10 it
loaded
has
more.
enormous greedy boards on it.
What they did is they filled the whole. I'll have to dig them up later, but they filled the whole tender, including around the water hatch, and then they piled it like
That doesn't
3
count.
feet high on the
Why?
tender. That was for the final run of the engine, but they just loaded the thing up.
The fireman is like, okay, real funny, guys, because I'm going to go up to the water hatch to get a scoop, and then go for a 50-yard dash down the center of the tender and
They-
pitch it in.
They had guys riding back there.
It's
too.
not a
That was-
50-yard dash, though.
Anyway. Okay.
It feels
well,
like it when you've got a scoop of coal.
1455's tender is the more I look at it, the more it looks like Gabe's tender in that they tried to get the wheels as close together as they could without breaking it.
Yeah, well,
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm going to
I
regret
like
this.
small tenders.
Total engine and tender weight.
Total engine and tender weight. Why are you gonna regret this?
I was gonna say.
I don't know. I have a feeling you're heavier.
220,890.
Shit.
Wait, seriously?
255,500. I'm heavier.
Is your tender
How?
made out of solid lead? What? Your tender's it's not only stupendously heavy, it's also bigger on the inside.
It's made of tartar.
All right, fine.
I should've-
We'll
I say I regret that because I have the bigger capacity by 2 tons.
yeah, well, I mean, still,
We're the-
okay,
But you
okay,
have the
then
bigger
fine.
boiler,
Tender
so-
loaded weight. Tender loaded weight.
Tender loaded weight is 113,000 pounds.
Holy cow. Apparently they're filling the bottom of the cistern with gold bars. So
Was the
70,890 pounds. Either that or they're filling mine with helium.
We've struck some sort of gas. What is it? I don't know.
All right, let me see. All right,
What's your
fine.
guys'
Then.
boiler pressure?
That's good. Boiler pressure.
We already did that one.
Yeah,
Oh.
I
I
won by
lost
20
at
pounds.
180.
Wait a minute. I have a question.
Oh god.
How many survive?
1? Question mark? I'm sure you have 11 million.
Hang on.
11.
The GBW. Let's see. GBW, I'm not sure because I haven't looked at the GBW ones as much. I want to say there's 1. The EJ&S, there's 1.
Okay, so you've already beat me.
Santa Fe. Let me see if any of the Santa Fe ones survived, because they're the ones that. And the answer is doesn't look like it. So we're gonna go with 2, although there may be more because I haven't really had time to look that one up.
Okay, well, I've got 1.
Sorry,
think I
Alex,
have one.
I tried to help you.
I assume I have 1. There might be another one squirreled away somewhere, but I don't think so. Because there's only pictures of this one.
Wait, where
Okay.
is it?
It's in Danbury, actually. Weibold has seen it.
What? Huh? What?
We saw this engine on the way out to Pennsylvania. Because it was in the museum at Danbury.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
I thought for a second you said Denver, and it's like, no, there's no way he said Denver. Weibald's seen this one. Wait, did he say Denver? Where is
No.
there a mogul in Denver?
A B&M mogul.
Yeah,
It's gone
exactly.
a long way.
Yes, that one.
Okay.
All right. Well, you know what? Since I think I've squeezed out my lead as much as I'm going to say let's go to style points.
I have one more question I'd like to ask.
Well,
Well,
that's a shame.
that sucks.
I think it's a good question. I'm honestly curious, even if it's not a
All right.
points-based
Well,
question.
okay. Say it as for the sake of curiosity then.
What year were yours built?
Originally 1903, and then they were superheated in 1918.
Okay, mine were built new in 1924. If we're going with the
Oh,
GBW
seriously?
one.
Holy crap! I was trying to.
I thought you. I was
Yeah.
gonna say I thought you literally picked something based on it was slightly newer.
Yeah, I thought you said 1905 earlier.
1909-6, which is the Stevenson's version.
Okay.
And we're going off the GBW version, so those are built in 24.
Dang, I was fighting an uphill battle. I didn't even know it. Anyway.
Right.
So, style points. What have we got?
Well, Rail's engine has red wall tires. It looks kind of
Red walls, come on, man.
I have white
Yeah.
walls.
Red walls. Where are you ever going to see red walls again?
Russia.
There's a reason you don't see them.
They look sharp on the engine.
No, they
It
don't.
looks really cool.
It looks like you have rubber tires. That's what it looks like. It looked like hard rubber tires.
Hey, my engine's been wrecked and rebuilt from the ashes.
Allegedly, this engine has been cut into 3 pieces and reassembled. But I don't think that's true.
Cut into 3 pieces.
Trying to think.
Engine, tender, and
Other engine.
etc.
I will just drop this here for the hilarity. The 6 climbed to the number 5.
Oh, jeez. Giddy up.
You've yeed your legs off.
These things survived into service. These things survived long enough to be parked next to Bud cars.
Okay.
Does,
The number 6 lasted in it was the last steam engine in service in the state of Michigan.
Really? That's a
Yep.
style point if I've ever heard one.
does 6 have an all-weather cab?
I certainly
6 does. Well, it doesn't have the enclosed back. It has blinds that can be closed.
don't. Yeah, that's
That
not an
does
all-weather cab.
not count.
They're neither
Michigan-
of them have an all-weather cab. We both have the cool sort of arch roof windows by the looks of it.
Well, not all of the 260s had that. The 6 was rebuilt. That cab was, we think, off of a PM. The windows, at least, are off a PM Atlantic.
Interesting.
Does 6 have...
Hmm.
The Ellis's engine has dual compressors. I don't know if 6 has
One of
dual
them-
compressors or not.
Yeah, some of them did. Some of them, like this one, had a cross compound.
The GBW ones had a dual cross compound. The East Jordan Southern ones had a single cross compound.
Yeah. Well, if you've got an example of dual cross compound, then you beat me out because I'm not sure we have an example of a dual cross compound. We have dual single stage and we have a cross compound. At least from the ones that I can see.
Dual everything.
Dual
But I do
everything.
like that.
Style points for these ones are hard.
Yeah, I know. It's difficult.
See.
Yes.
I think you deserve a point for being, used across multiple roads. Just
Yes.
being as ubiquitous as you were, I feel like that's worth a style point.
These things were run hard.
Mhm.
Who ran long?
Ham.
I did. I was the last steam engine running in the state of Michigan. It's 1961.
Yeah. Even Boston and Maine clinging to everything did not. Did not let
They
these things
stopped.
last as long.
They stopped in like August, and the rails were gone by October. Let's see. I have a photo in the firebox of this engine.
Well, take it out and
I
show it
don't
to
know
us.
if that. Okay. Well, firebox or smoke box, take your pick.
No, take it out of the firebox. Something might happen to it.
Okay.
Dirty.
Dirty. Oops.
Dirty. Dirty.
Dirty beans.
It was dirty when we found it.
Hmm.
My God.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is the before.
Yeah, fireboxes do that.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
God.
Luckily, that's all been cleaned out.
Oh my God.
Bet this.
I guess another point for this one, potentially, it is getting a full cosmetic restoration right now.
Yeah,
And
so
there's
is
a
this
lot
one.
of work. Okay.
I mean, ideally, the museum would love to run it, but they cannot run anywhere. So.
Okay, there is another thing. They tried to fire this engine up in the 80s.
Okay.
They
Tried?
left water in the tender, and the tender froze.
Oh,
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
But it did actually pass a hydro in like 86.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I mean, that's
What?
kind of cool.
It passed a hydro in '86.
Cool. What does that have to do with the water?
Like,
Well,
he's just-
they left the water in the tender, and this tender tank is now Swiss cheese. Partially because of that, when there were a couple of guys from Buckley Steam Show that went over to look at it, and it was just dripping when they got to it. It was bad.
I mean, it's a tender.
Yeah, the tank needs replaced in this day and age. It didn't need replaced originally.
It's a tender.
Yes.
You need
The
tender
box
decking.
that's supposed to hold water. It's alright.
They tend to be very bad.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at.
How on earth
So-
is this flush mounted?
We were rebuilt with economy piston valves, whatever those are. You can see them in the extendo
Nice.
boxes on top of the cylinders.
Okay, I have another one.
Nice.
I have another good one.
Yeah.
This was the last steam locomotive rebuilt in the Pierre Marquette locomotive shops.
That's pretty cool.
This was the last steam locomotive rebuilt in the state of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So this engine has 3 lasts.
In 1455, I don't know if it was the last anything. I know that, I know that the Boston and Maine kept these things in service for quite a while. Kept these things in service forever and ever and ever. Because of course they would refuse to get rid of them. So
For forever and all eternity.
They used them with the with their wooden coaches, which of course they had to be separated from.
That makes too much sense.
They had to be what's the word?
Isolated.
Explicitly told by the Interstate Commerce Commission that you cannot use those anymore.
I do have another.
Yeah,
There was also an oil-burning engine, a variant of this engine.
that's kind of cool.
The ATSF ran these things as oil burners,
Of course they did.
2600 class.
I don't want to give you that style point.
I think an engine having, that many, or, that kind of permutation is cool enough. But, I mean, what do the other co-hosts think? What do you guys think? Do you think he deserves a style point for that?
I would say so.
For what
Because-
exactly? I can't.
Oil
So I
burning.
think of it.
Also having an oil-burning variant. So they had some that burned coal and some that burned oil.
I'll see
No,
why not.
I don't think that's a style point, really.
Alright, well,
Well, we've gotten nowhere.
Well, no, I mean-
Divide right down the
I mean-
middle.
Right.
two of the hosts, it's mainly up to you guys. It's 2 out of 4. Or, sorry, 2 out of 4. 2 out of 3. I don't really get a say, and he doesn't get a say.
Let's leave it up to the audience. Oh wait.
Wow.
What audience?
I mean, in
Nice.
fairness, I was more or less joking because oil.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll give it to him. Whatever. No big deal.
Okay.
Let's see, what else? This engine has the engine 1 builder's number up from it still exists and operates. Wilmington Western 98 is 1
That's not
digit
special.
up.
That's not special about the engine.
It's an interesting tidbit.
It is interesting.
This is true, but it is not special
It
about
does
the
not
engine.
help the engine at all.
The engine, let's see, it was moved last year.
That also does not help the engine.
Yeah. Fishing. Hang on.
Gone fishing.
Let's see.
Let's see.
What type of tender trucks do you have, by the way? I'm curious.
You know what? I would rather not talk about that.
Are they arch bars?
No.
Are yours not?
Hold on. Let me just post the original picture that I posted again, and you guys can take a look at those tender trucks.
Holy shit!
I just have one question. What are those?
That said, most of them were
Holy
replaced.
shit.
They're, they had.
What are these?
I at
Those-
least have arch bars under the 6 and regular tender trucks under the GBW.
Yeah, no.
Holy crap, man!
I can post 100
What
other
are
pictures
those?
of these guys without those god awful tender trucks. But I just would like
At
to
least
point out
have arch bars.
that they exist. Just that they
Dear
exist.
God!
Okay, I have to see these things. What are these?
They're like 1800s code.
Reach all the way over to my computer. I send display. I don't send displays TBA. Thank you for your concern. I'm working on Legos right now.
Shame.
Well, no, there's a rule against video games. There's no rule against building Legos. Also,
Like TVA is writing to everybody behind the scenes. Like,
oh, it's one of the right. Yes.
again, they didn't keep those. That's just where they started.
The Union Army didn't either. So.
Oh, I do have one other bit that may help.
What?
The only piece of passenger equipment off this railroad survived as well.
That doesn't help the engine.
Ooh, hey, I've got something.
But not about the end.
Although I'm not sure if it actually helps me or not. He has a wooden buffer beam in the front, or whatever you call that.
I have a wood
pilot
beam, and I have a wood tailing beam on the tender.
I have metal ones.
Hey, I still have a pole bar.
End-sill.
I still have a polling bar.
Well, technically it's a pilot beam on the front. On the rear is what I was pointing at. It's not called a tailing beam. It's called an end sill.
No, I'm
or an end beam.
Oh yeah, I still have a polling. Not the pockets, but the actual bar on the tender.
That's a meme now.
Most engines do.
It's
let's see.
Trailing.
I didn't see one on Ellis's. So.
I don't know.
I mean, is it better to have one that's made of metal?
Well, the bar I have is old growth timber.
No. No. We're not giving you points for a polling beam. They're illegal. There's a reason that they're illegal. They have been illegal forever.
Yeah, they kind of have.
What's a polling beam?
Okay, my headlight looks better, though.
So, TBA, polling is, imagine you have two parallel tracks that are like 5 feet apart. You have a boxcar on one track and a locomotive on the track next to it.
Oh.
You approach, and then you span like a pole. Picture a javelin at an angle between the locomotive, the nearest corner of the locomotive and the boxcar, and you shove the boxcar with the locomotive from the other track.
What the fuck?
Which is incredibly dangerous because the poles that were made out of old-growth timber, as strong as they were not locomotive-moving cars strong, particularly when the engineer wasn't very, smooth on the throttle, and they had a tendency to explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of did.
That's dangerous. That's not a style.
It's dangerous as shit. It was outlawed many, many, many moons ago.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago.
This
is not racist.
Let's see.
That's some
I don't know. I don't really have anything else other than the fact that my pilot beam is metal.
Yeah, your pilot beam is metal, but
metal pilot beams are nice.
Yeah, but the wood one's just fine.
Well, until you have to replace it, because I've been doing that for the past... You know what? F wooden pilot beams. Get a point for the steel.
I had a feeling that would, that would result.
Steel's not gonna break, really.
I mean, it is. It's just not gonna rot.
I mean, the wood ones seldom break. It's just when you come back and repair the engine, and try to repair the engine after it spent so many years in the hands of a club, and then went to Strasbourg for 13 years. You can't find the holes because they're in the wrong spot, and I'm getting off track here.
How's 20 doing?
Lovely. Why do you ask?
1455 is a pretty locomotive.
Well, you can vote for it when we're done here. I think we're good.
Yeah, I can't come up with anything else.
All right,
I really want the 260 to win.
1570.
TJS one.
Well, what matters isn't this. What matters is what the audience says, right?
True.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What audience?
We have an audience. Since when?
Since.
Oh wait, no. We always have one audience member.
Yeah, Penning guy.
I can't. I was gonna say I can't really make that joke anymore because we did actually meet audience members in Ogden.
Yeah, but we can just say that they were just fans of the
Hey,
Iron Horseman Chronicles, which
we've had. Hang on, I can prove one.
Oh God.
The 611 live stream when someone screamed locomotive versus.
Yeah, that was actually I found out who that was. They're in the Discord.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
It was Dachshund, I think, right? Because
Was it Dachshund? It was somebody we had on a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
it was
Did they
Dachshund.
go-
It was Dachshund.
Were they on like the? Did they scream it live on the live
It was.
stream?
We were in the
It
live
was
stream
said in the chat.
and I was just
Oh.
in there, just chit chatting, whatever. And we bring up, whatever these. It was when 89 had come in to escort 611 back to Strasbourg, and somebody made a joke about whatever. Compare those two engines, and Dachshund said something like, "Yeah, 611 versus 489's locomotive versus." Anyway, all right, so that's that. The winner is the B&M B15B, which I think that's the first time they won. I'm pretty sure they got crushed last time.
Are we still doing the everyone gets a vote?
Of course. Well, we don't because we competed.
I know.
But they get a vote. So what are your guys' votes?
I want 1455 to have my vote.
I would love
Blast.
to see this run.
Is Jader asleep?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
No, I won't fall asleep. I'm doing okay.
Somebody
How's that going?
I like both of these engines, but I'm gonna go with number 6.
Woo!
Does it remind you of number 3?
Maybe.
Yeah, I knew it. Alright, so we got 1 and
If I
1.
show up one day and 3 has red walls, I'm done.
You ask stupid questions.
Does that mean you're voting for 1455?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
See.
Okay.
2-1. Anyway, so yeah. That's a Lee. He takes this one. And let's move on to the news. Alright, let me clear out this locomotive versus thing. You guys can go ahead and start on with the news. Whatever you guys think is most interesting.
Do you mind if I start off, since I'm actually going to have
no,
to get
go
taken
ahead.
off in a minute here? Okay, so first tidbit posted today. Norfolk and Western 475 is coming back with a new look, one we haven't seen since days gone by. An NWN class with a centered headlight. Could be interesting.
Vesta, your face is messed up.
Is that what they changed about it? I
Yeah.
saw the picture and went, 475.
Yes, that's actually.
I didn't actually do that.
That was posted
my
by the
refrigerator
mayor
car.
of Strasbourg, apparently. Anyway,
The Strasbourg.
the next
Oh, you
photo
know, Jeff.
that is posted in the list there is the Heston Scenic, or now what is it, Heston Galena Creek, new railroad name for the Heston guys, but they also got a new locomotive to go with that name.
Cool.
Their Porter number 2, which has not seen steam for 35 years, is back in action as of last weekend.
So cute.
Fantastic.
Good.
They double-headed it with their Shay. It looked ridiculous, but it was sweet. Trust me, I was there. But the engine's been back under steam. I believe it's got a new boiler on it, new tender tank. It went through a fire, so they've done a lot of work in a new cab. They basically had a nice set of running gear and some cylinders. So
Well,
the
that's
engine's
good.
back in service as it was in its Cuba appearance.
Cuba.
Minus the Brunswick green knockoff. Anyway. But yeah, it's great to see that engine back. It hasn't run in a very long time. And then the last bit I have is the Sierra number 3 got her movie look back recently. She's back to her full Back to the Future look, the
Like
number
the tumbling off the
131
cliff
and the
sort of look?
CP. Yep, that kind of look. But the cool thing
with
is,
the
they got-
massive balloon stack.
yes, that balloon stack was built for the number 28, but is back on the number 3.
Great.
So,
Speaking of engines that have started operating again after a series of time, and also, with respect to engines that are geared,
yes.
the Cass Climax has come into service for the first time in, 50 years or something like that. The restoration
Since
has
retired.
been going on for a couple of decades at least. And,
20 years.
And so, yeah, so Cass, which is of course well known for its Shays and a Heisler, now also has a Climax
I
running.
didn't know that.
Yet the Heislers in Durban.
Yeah, well, you know,
Every day I'm
it's still
hustling.
nearby.
I don't
Yeah.
know that story, man. What the fuck are you talking about?
I was waiting for that.
The issue is if they tried to get it from Durban to Cass, it would take a couple of years.
It's not that far out.
Yeah, but it is a Heisler.
Well, the Heislers are the only thing
The
that
Heislers were the ones that could go fast. Yeah.
Yes.
Faster.
Fast air
Well.
quotes.
Fast for geared engines.
Yeah.
Speaking
So,
of geared engines that have not seen steam in a while,
Uh-oh.
we don't actually have an article for this, but it's a piece of news, so why not? It was recently a rumor was announced to the public, along with a sort of confirmation of the rumoring. Westside Shay 14 may soon return to California, taking up residence at the Roaring Camp in Big Trees Railroad.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
yeah, I saw that.
Yep.
That was
That's
The-
really cool.
No deal has been settled on yet,
Yeah,
which is why it's
uh,
sort of a stipulation thing, and why it was kept under wraps until some loudmouth blabbed. But
And his name is
representatives
Schwab,
from
and it was on the Terminus podcast. What?
It's not me.
I'm kidding.
I've kept this under wraps for months. A couple months ago, some reps from Roaring Camp came out and looked the engine over, and that's about all I know.
The
All right.
word I've heard, because I've actually heard a little bit on this, is it's going to go to Roaring Camp. There's a lease agreement, and if it runs well there, they may buy it. That's what I.
Well, that's if Lindsay wants to sell it. And it isn't even Lynn. Well, I'm not sure if it's technically Lindsay's engine or
If it
technically
comes to
not his
Roaring
engine.
Camp,
It's his
it'll
wife's
be-
engine. His engine
Oh.
is 12, the slightly larger Westside Shay, and 14 is his wife's engine.
Aw, his and hers engines.
Yeah, exactly.
His and hers Shays. How nice.
Yeah, pretty much. But that is the hers Shay, and I'm not sure if hers wants to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be neat if it went out there. I like Roaring Camp. It's a good, cool place.
I like Roaring Camp too.
Now, I do want to be here for this. Can I move the subject to the engine that wanted its belly scratched?
Oh yes.
I
Oh
wanna
yes.
be here for this
Our
one.
star event of this podcast. Who has it? Who has
Is
the
this the
link?
Is this the one
Yup.
I think it is?
Six Flags.
All right.
Six Flags engine. Which I didn't know until I looked at the forum post for this. This is the same Six Flags Railroad that a couple months ago we had an article because they had a locomotive catch on fire.
Oh
Is
no,
someone-
really?
Yeah, we did this a couple months ago. Same railroad. There was
Oh,
the engine that turned itself barbecue.
Amazing.
That was the one in Virginia.
They've just not been having good luck. No, there was one in Georgia.
Okay, then the one in Virginia had propane explosion a couple months ago. So that
Great.
yeah.
So
that
basically,
one's at
just
least
Six
steam.
Flags and trains don't seem to
They don't
to
mix.
mix.
They're not
Anyway.
doing great.
Point is, they had a derailment at Six Flags in Atlanta, Georgia. Which-
Okay, I'd like to
The
point
engine
this out.
flipped over and the car came off the track.
They,
Look at the
they
tender-
derailed.
The tender's
hard.
hovering there. The front truck kept going.
Wait a minute.
as they sometimes do.
The engine flopped over, and
Oh, I
the
see
wheels
it.
just kept going.
The best. I don't know if I've ever told. I know the other guys have heard this story, but I'll keep it brief. The best one of those is an articulated on the Rio Grande that blew up, and the engine truck stayed on the track and just kept going for a little while. They found it like 3/4 of the mile down the track, just sitting there.
I thought it like rolled into a station or something.
Well, it came into Sedalia, or just outside of Sedalia, but
Okay. Well, if we're talking about things
It was-
being on fire, a little bit closer, a little bit more concerning than a park train. The MBTA had a commuter train repair and storage facility. Their main commuter train repair and storage facility up in East Somerville, which is just north of Boston, caught on fire. The fire was in an
great.
exhaust vent, and there was a train underneath the exhaust vent at the time, but the locomotive was not damaged. I don't know if it was one of their old F-40s, one of their hypothermic Vs, or one of their new F-40s, hopefully not the newer. But again, it allegedly was not damaged, and so things are continuing as normal. Basically, it's just the MBTA catching on fire. But if we are talking about commuter rail, etc., so a lot of folks get on and off the subway in New York City, and a lot of those folks are wearing AirPods because they're fairly popular, or AirPod knockoffs or whatever.
Oh no!
But there is now a PSA that people should, or well, they're considering a PSA to instruct people not to wear or not to specifically try to remove or put on AirPods while getting on and off the subway, because apparently countless AirPods have been lost in the gap between the platform and the train by people just putting them on or taking them off while they try to whatever. It's also
while you're shuffling with your bag and trying to get the ticket out and looking for where the hell
it's long past where you have to put the ticket in. This is on the subway, so you have gone through the turnstiles already. But
getting on the actual train.
Yeah.
That's just kind of sad.
Yeah. Again, it's because they're expensive, people try to get them back, or people ask employees to try to get them back. A writer named Ashley Meyer went viral on Twitter after she retrieved her lost AirPod from the tracks using duct tape at the end of a pole.
Nice.
Trust me, I'm an engineer.
Yeah, modern problems require modern solutions. I
duct
guess.
tape. Woo!
So, yeah, be careful about doing stuff like that while you're getting on and off the train. I constantly, when I'm getting...
Ouch! Ow!
What the hell
Okay.
Ow! That could you hear?
I just heard crunch, 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 ow! Anyway, I constantly think about, am I going to drop something, or am I going to, fall, get my foot wedged between the platform and the train when I'm getting on and off the train. If you want more commuter rail, there is currently a proposal or a concept for new commuter rail that will run directly from Danbury to Grand Central Terminal using what they call an abandoned stretch of track, which it isn't abandoned. It's part of the old Maybrook subdivision. It's largely used for freight. Although, it is...
abandoned.
The freight service on it is fairly rare these days, and mostly it was the MTA was using it to move trains from the Harlem line to the Hudson line or back, etc. And also, I believe they were in the process of selling part of it, or even all of it, all of the part in question, to a rail trail people, because they just found it to be not useful. It's relatively isolated, and there really isn't much on it. So, they were looking to unload it, but it might end up being unloaded to, Condot or something, by the looks of it. So...
that'd be nice.
That'd be handy.
Yeah. So, they would be,
better than a rail trail.
Condot is just all over the place with rail, in a very good way. And considering that the Danbury branch has about 1,100 daily riders into South Norwalk, which would... from there, they would go to Grand Central, most of them would. And that takes about 2 hours. They would be looking into doing this and making it a little bit faster, and also possibly making it a one-seat ride. So, the grant was awarded on Thursday by the Metropolitan Transportation Council of New York City. And, yeah, they're looking to reopen the Maybrook rail line. I would like to see more stuff into Danbury, because that means there's more of a focus at that end of the Housatonic. And if you can get a rail line up the Housatonic, then it's that much closer to bringing all of southern New England together with commuter rail. This combined with the MBTA stuff I talked about last week is a huge step in the right direction for commuter rail in my region.
Hey, as long as they're not using chargers, I'm...
Speaking of things in your region, Ellis, have you seen the new Acela interior?
I've seen a picture of it, and it looks snazzy. It looks very European, actually.
It
does.
I think it looks
so
cool.
Yeah.
I'm confused on these, actually. Are they called Acela still, or are they called Avelia?
See, I believe the train is called Avelia, and the use of the term Acela is kind of murky, because the Acela is the name for the train set, to my knowledge, but also it's become the name for the service. It is the Acela Express. And so they're marketing these guys. I mean, the official name of the train set is the Avelia Liberty, but the name of the service is the Acela Express. So to market it to people, they're basically just calling it the new Acela, so that you don't confuse people and have to tell people what the Avelia Liberty is every time you bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's fair. I've been more confused by that, though. Like, I suppose I'm not the average consumer in knowing what the Acela is, or even the name of the Avelia Liberty. I feel like they've clarified that poorly, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Are they going to be using the same Acela locomotives?
No, it will be a whole new
No.
train set.
Yeah.
The Acelas will be taken out of service. Current speculation is you may see them return to service maybe on the Keystone or something like that.
Ship them to California.
But, I mean,
Yeah,
that
for
also
real. Give 'em
that
a-
also is not out of the question, I suppose, if they wanted to do some more electrification out there. I know Caltrain already is.
They bought 2 AEM7s.
Yeah, to use as
Yeah,
testers for the
I
most
got
part.
to see them come in.
Oh, you did?
Those come in.
Oh,
Yes, I
that's
did.
Cool.
Gentlemen, I hate to cut out here, but I am going to have to bail. So you just
All right,
have a good
well,
one, and
write
I will add
a
closing
termination down below, and we'll
Yep,
just say it
that's
later.
what I'm doing.
All right.
We'll wake Jader up when it's time to read
Have
it
a good
out.
one, gents.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Are you?
Being quiet.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I've been there before, man. You're just like,
I mean, I was there
Yeah,
all
and then
week.
too, I'm just like, can this be over yet?
You have those days. There are good days and bad days. But speaking
Yeah.
of things that actually no, you know what? I can talk about that, but I want to talk about real quick, just to speak on the original disposition of the Acelas. If anybody remembers this, one of the reasons the Acelas and the HHP8s were not exactly hits, certainly at the beginning of their run, is because there were a lot of production problems with them, and it ended up being there was serious cracking in, I believe, the wheels or the brakes or something like
Now,
that.
the HHPH ones were the double-ended
Yes.
Acela-looking things,
I
right?
completely forgot about those, actually. Those were
Yeah,
like my
me
favorite
too.
things to play with in MSTS.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember them in MSTS.
Do they still, are any still in service? do you
There
think?
none still exist. They were taken out of service very
Aw.
quickly because they were deemed very costly to work on and repair after the cracking issues that occurred. Basically, Amtrak, they got the HHP8s and the Acelas at the same time. They had the same problems, and it was worth it to repair the Acelas because they were novel. You know, they were supposed to be their express service. But instead of forking over the money to repair the HHP8s in the same fashion, they just kept the AM7s instead. And that's why the toasters were in service for so long before the ACS 64 started coming in. And a very
So
similar...
the HHP8s are extinct completely.
Oh, yeah. I don't think any were saved. They came and went
actually-
very quickly.
That's actually kind of sad.
Yeah.
It is. I liked those.
New South Wales in Australia is having an issue, though, with
Crikey.
Sydney Trains' similar train sets, not Acelas exactly, but the relatively high-speed XPT diesel trains are having very similar problems with metal cracking and stuff like that. It's a serious safety issue. They have to take them out of service.
Ductal fracture's a bitch.
Yeah, and so they're. I just wanted to bring that up because of the relevance with the Acelas being taken out of service and looking back at their careers, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we can look at the long.
Speak of Australia,
Oh, what?
the 3801 is getting pressed back into
Yay.
service sometime soon. Which, for those that don't know, is the green New Haven i5.
Yeah, it
I
has
think
the.
they just did a steam test on it. Like,
Yep.
last-
We have the
Yeah,
article
yesterday.
about that.
Oh,
Yes.
But if we want to talk about long and storied history of certain Amtrak equipment,
Well, I've got
it is-
some stuff about history.
well, it's time to bid a sad farewell to the Great Dome Car Ocean View,
Oh, no.
F.
as after last season, it has been retired from service, and will no longer operate as part of Amtrak's fleet, and has currently been moved into storage at the Beech Grove repair shops in Indiana. And I don't know what's going to happen to it. Hopefully, of course, it doesn't get scrapped. I'm hoping beyond hope that it just hangs out.
I guarantee somebody will buy it.
Well, I don't want that to happen. Here's what I want to happen. Here's my pie in the sky pipe dream.
I already know what this pipe dream is, too.
It doesn't get sold. It stays at Beech Grove until the next Amtrak head comes in, and they decide to use it instead. Like, they decide to reactivate the car. Because, come on. And it seems like everyone has something to say about this, that we have 3 different articles on it, and one of them is actually fairly scathing. It goes something along the lines of, Amtrak has done away with an incredibly valuable asset. It's the Trains magazine. Analysis: Amtrak surrenders valuable tool with retirement of last dome car. And,
yep.
I kind of agree. I think that was an amazing car. I think that without that, perusing these eastern routes where you don't have the superliners with the gigantic windows, it misses out on so many opportunities.
This is the one that you and Madison went and rode last year, yes?
No, she didn't. I never got the chance to take her on it. We were going to ride it when it was on the Adirondack. I have been able to ride it. I was able to ride it once when it was on the Downeaster, and I really wanted to be able to catch it again, but I wasn't able to. I wanted to take her on it, but I wasn't able to. Thankfully we got the observation cars on the Coast Starlight, the Coast Starlight and the Sunset Limited, and not Sunset Limited, and Southwest Chief, and the California Zephyr, but it's not the same as the Great Dome.
Those are the superliners. They're different.
It's not the same. When you're in the dome, it feels like you're in almost like a submersible, and you're just surrounded by glass. It's beautiful. And unfortunately, people are not going to be able to witness that on Amtrak anymore.
Yep.
So, TBA, what were you talking about?
Oh, well, these are... it's an article about how a lot of short-line railroads still use old EMD and old locomotives, like first and second-gen locomotives, such as F7s or BL2s, and those early transition-era diesels.
Mm-hmm.
And
stuff that was built, kind of before planned obsolescence became a thing.
Or Algos, in the case of the Delaware Lackawanna.
Yeah.
Algo!
And we all know F7. It's what drew me to the article, is its F units on the dock. And so I was like, ooh, F units, I like those. Everybody knows I like F units. So
I like that.
Of course I had to touch on this, because those engines hold a special place in my heart. And
of course.
And it's, I don't know, it's just nice to know that people still run them. Right here in the article from one of the engineers said that they ride smooth and handle like a GP9, so...
And you can't see backwards.
And you can't see backwards.
Don't look backwards, son.
Don't look back.
Well,
Actually,
If the brakeman has a problem, he can plug the train. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's why you get 2 of them and put them end to end.
Yeah, there you go.
You just have to run to the other end of the other locomotive and look
Outstanding
at
move.
it.
Dude, it has a door on the back. Just run through.
It does.
Actually,
But have you ever tried to run down the side of an F unit? I never have, but walking down one is hazardous enough.
Yeah, I feel like you're a little close to the engine there.
Yeah.
I've stuck my head inside the body of an F40. Boy, is it loud.
Yep.
Anyway, Jader, you have a note on a very special F7 that's going on tour.
Yeah. So, I'm going to assume everybody watching and all of you are familiar with Clintfield 800.
Oh, God!
You assume incorrectly.
Oh, no!
What?
No, why did I pick this, man?
What?
This KCS article! It's horrifying.
Why did I close it?
All right, we'll come back to that. So Clinchfield 800 is the Clinchfield F7 that
Right.
exists.
Right. It's the one that CSX and the Southern Appalachia Railway Museum done up. They did it up in its as delivered paint scheme a couple years back for the Santa train. Santa train. And it's been very well traveled. Let's see, after the Santa train, it had an extended stay in Florida. Went up to Kentucky Steam to 2716.
Yep.
And now, this fall, it'll be on tour in Ohio.
Are you going to go see it?
I want to.
Awesome. You should invite it to the Hocking Valley.
Hey, pipe dream, I'd like to. And there's a C&O Jeep at the L&M that I would love to see Tuesday.
Yeah.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
Get her done.
You know who else is going on tour?
Sabaton?
Yes, but also 4014, which should totally
Yes.
pull Sabaton's touring train. But, 4014 is going on what they call the Great Race Across the Southwest. It's going to be going through Arkansas, Arizona, California, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Nevada, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming. I don't know why they decided to name those in alphabetical order as opposed to the order that it'll actually visit them in. But
I don't know, but it's oddly pleasing, isn't it?
I mean, it's kind of annoying because now I don't know where it's going. All right, and then it has the whole list of the tour and locations. Okay, there we go. It's got wow, is it going?
Yeah, it's Big Loop.
It is a huge
Where's
loop.
the list? I want to see this. When's it coming to Roseville?
It's not coming to Roseville on this tour. It's going to be going across Wyoming and then down through Provo, through Utah, through Las Vegas. Holy crap!
God damn it!
Into Los Angeles, or into quote the greater Los Angeles area. So I don't know how close it's getting to like Union Station.
So, Orange County.
Why couldn't they come over Donner, then go down?
I'm sure they'll do that too, just not yet. It's going through Tucson. Too bad they can't detour through Phoenix because they got rid of that track. Because that would be cool.
Okay.
Through Tucson, through El Paso, and then across Texas, and then up. It doesn't actually name any of the cities, and it doesn't name any cities in the trip past El Paso. It goes through Texas, and then up, and then through Arkansas, and then ducks into Oklahoma, and then in Kansas, and then dips into Missouri at Kansas City, and then comes back across Kansas, goes up through Colorado, and then ends back at Cheyenne. So, yeah.
Everywhere.
Holy crap.
I've been to Reno, Fargo, Chicago,
Yeah.
Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Windsor.
I like,
How many times do you think it's either going to break down or derail?
I mean, I don't think it's going to break down, but it might derail once or twice. I could see that happening. I like coming out to see our steam locomotives in person. Stand back at least 25 feet from all railroad tracks. Lol. Railroad tracks, trestles, yards, and right-of-way are private property. Please do not trespass. Lol. Never assume tracks are abandoned or inactive. Always expect a train. I feel like they are expecting a train, and that's why they're there. So, I'm sure nobody will trespass or get any closer than 25 feet. But anyway, I mentioned a couple of places that it's going through, or not going through in this case. Phoenix, I didn't get to talk about last episode, but we had an interesting legal issue with Phoenix. Now, I will explain what that means. They tendered a bill to kill expansion of the Phoenix light rail system. And it was not just a normal, well, no, this year we're not going to spend money on the light rail system, we're actually just going to spend it on the highways or whatever. The wording of the bill explicitly forbid the city of Phoenix forever using funds for light rail again.
Wow.
Yeah. So...
Okay. Like changing the budget or wait,
Like,
wait. This is the stupidest thing in the world.
yup. It was, but
There's
that's
no way this. Tell me
no,
this.
it
There's
didn't.
no way this.
That's what they tried to pass. I assume.
Good.
I assume it was not marketed as we're whatever. But I assume it had something. I assume it used the word boondoggle in the advertising. I also assume that people weren't told that you will never be able to have light rail ever again. In fact, it was just like, we don't want to spend money on this, so we're gonna not spend money on this, and we want you to vote for this so that we don't spend money on it. And it was like, probably also said something like, insert group of people wants to waste all your money on the boondoggle that is the light rail. And we've all heard that one before, or something to that effect. So,
No.
So, as of 10 p.m. local time on Tuesday night, 62.4% of those voting had cast ballots against Proposition 105, which would have prohibited, quote, this is the quote, using any funds from any source for the construction, development, extension, or expansion of or improvement to any light rail or fixed rail transit system. Period.
Greyhound wants to know your
Yeah.
location. Like, I want to know what bus-loving, heartless. Like, who is in support of this? Legitimately, do they sit in a back office puffing on a stogie maniacally? Yes, now we will sell them gasoline for their buses, and then we will take over the world.
So, the ballot initiative had grown out of an opposition to a planned extension to South Phoenix of the light rail, led by businesses concerned that a major street would be decreased from 4 lanes of traffic to 2. Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego hailed the result. Gilligan hailed the result on Twitter, saying, quote, "This election was about what we want our city to be. Residents broke records when they showed up in mass. In mass? Come on, article writer. It's en masse.
En masse. E-N.
Not in mass. They didn't go to church.
In mass. They showed up in mass rather than in density or volume.
Declared they want robust transportation options. Light rail expansion is not stopping. Not today. Not tomorrow.
That's a very Trumpian way of putting that.
I suppose.
Light rail is not stopping today, not tomorrow, not ever.
Well, see, the word tremendous was not used here.
Tremendous or huge.
In a statement, President and CEO of the American Public Transportation Association, which I've never heard of before, called the result a monumental day at the ballot box for Phoenix. So, I like the fact that at least enough people were able to figure out what was going on here and determine that they do actually want to be able to have light rail. Not even if you want light rail right now, just ever have it ever. Also,
light rail.
They were smart. Literally, this is the plot of a Muppets movie. This is ridiculous.
I want more light rail.
Like, I can see the prop for the bill now. You hold this comical magnifying glass up to it, and you have, like, no money for anything ever, never, never, and it's underlined and in bold.
I mean, if Phoenix and Arizona cared enough, honestly, and this is another little pipe dream scenario for Amtrak. If Phoenix and Arizona cared enough, they would have purchased the section of rail in the desert, the 40 miles or so that UP abandoned, that allowed Amtrak to go through downtown Phoenix. And now they go through Maricopa, I think it is, which is way outside of Phoenix. And I'm sure that didn't affect ridership at all.
Of course not.
Also, speaking of rail services to southwest cities, Texas legislators are looking to revive plans for an Austin to San Antonio rail service. I mean, We've talked about the Texas bullet train quite a bit, and I think Texas is one of those places that could really use rail service between their large cities, because they've got a lot of large cities and huge expanses in between, which is excellent for that sort of thing.
They do.
If Texas
large
was
tracts of land.
to avoid being too overtly political, but if Texas was similar to California in the political mindedness with transit, I'm sure they would have trains everywhere by now. They'd
also have more tofu.
They are one of the few states that A, can afford it, and B, it makes sense.
Yes.
Anyway.
You know what doesn't make sense?
What doesn't make sense?
Why possum starts with an O.
Why does the Trump administration want to cut the Coast Starlight?
I mean, you can just talk to
Don't.
Anderson about that.
I was going to say, I don't know that the Trump administration cares about the Coast Starlight.
Well, then why is it on
certainly.
the article? Why does the article say the Trump administration looks to cut Eugene's only rail service to the south?
Well,
because the article is...
It's easy to blame Trump for that.
Yeah,
I would blame Anderson first. Technically part of the Trump administration, but...
I suppose,
being...
but did he put him there?
They want to cut the Coast Starlight, though.
I don't know how the CEO of Amtrak is determined. Anyway,
blood sacrifice.
Amtrak just cannot get a break because
Amtrak doesn't break.
I mean,
it does nothing but break.
Ooh.
Well, not all the time by itself, especially when there's a hurricane over here.
See, I don't know. So this is
over there, isn't it?
This is so bizarre because the entire text of the article is closed captioning text associated with the video. So I don't yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the Coast Starlight's in trouble. The Coast Starlight's been in trouble.
Speaking of coasts that are in trouble.
Oh no.
God.
The hurricane. Well, it had its way with a couple of railroads, Brightline and Amtrak.
Yep.
They both suffered cancellations and schedule problems and damages.
Yeah. And also, if you're in Florida for Hurricane Dorian, remember that the hurricane is not the only danger out there, because Brightline has killed somebody else. Again.
That's their passenger service was interrupted. I was worried there for a second and thought you were going to say that their killing spree had been interrupted.
So
they lost their kill streak.
So this is one of these really dumb things.
Kill streak.
Listen.
Now they're gonna use the tactical nuke.
This is the really dumb thing. When you have two tracks and a train crosses going one direction, you don't automatically assume that there are no other trains and drive across the intersection, like Florida Man did.
Oh no.
He was hit and killed by a train coming the other direction. Also, this is at the same intersection that a bicyclist was killed less than a week ago. But at the same time, I don't think there are any intersections on Brightline that have not had that white chalk drawn on them at least once or twice. Unless maybe one.
Unpopular opinion, puffing on this one.
Oh boy.
Darwinism is a thing.
I mean,
I'm sure whoever it was that was hit by the nice train is a nice guy, or was a nice guy.
Oh, I mean, you're not wrong.
At some point, you can't be protected from your own idiocy, and if you're that dumb, well,
you were that dumb.
Best of luck. Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why it's almost not even I mean, it is, because someone has died, and it's almost easy to gloss over that and say,
it is.
Haha, someone got hit and killed by Brightline again, but somebody has died, and it keeps happening.
It's unfortunate.
Nobody in Florida is capable of learning anything.
No.
I guess because we're making this a fairly political one. The NRA is in support of Brightline. We need to ban Brightline.
That's my position.
We need background checks for going near Brightline tracks.
That's my stance right now. I'm like, it's been there for how long, and how many times have you guys gotten hit by it?
Oh my god. Constantly.
One of these numbers is not very big. The other one is pretty big, and they're very close together, most importantly.
The other thing is, I mean, I'm not sure you can exactly compare it to the NRA if we're going to make that sort of joke, because the person in the train isn't gunning for anybody. They're just doing their job.
Not that you know of.
I mean, Listen.
That's what we do with the
Listen,
serial killers.
hold on.
That's how we solve our problems. We just make them all engineers from Brightline.
There we
Oh
go.
my god.
We've done it. We've
Outstanding
solved the problem. We've done it. We solved everything.
Anyway, if we're talking about tragedies, the former Buffalo Station has been demolished.
Wait, what? Buffalo
No.
Union?
Nope, not that one.
Oh God.
Oh, I was gonna say, hold the fuck up. Oh, but no.
That was the, you know,
Right. Yeah.
So the old Amshack that was servicing Buffalo trains before they moved to their new terminal, their new station, has been demolished. So they're working on a new building on that site.
Oh no.
Anyway.
How shall we ever move on? Did you bring that up literally just to scare us?
Yes, because I too was scared by it. I needed everyone to feel my pain. And also,
You saw it and
it's a trains
I
magazine
didn't
link,
feel
so
pain, by the way.
I can't even read it. If we're going to rag on the Trump administration on this podcast, though, there is at least one Amtrak situation where you can in fact point the finger, and that is, of course, the Gateway Project, the thing that I always harp on about.
I was gonna say, here we go again.
Yeah.
Get some popcorn.
Yeah. Either way, I would like to make a point of something that rarely happens in civil engineering planning, which is that the price for Gateway has actually been revised down. Also, Amtrak has said they will contribute more than they previously were offering to the project. Not that that helps, because Amtrak, frankly, doesn't have that much money to give. But, you know, it's at least them giving their token, listen, we do need this. Let's,
Like,
you know.
please.
And they can show that projects that they're involved in have been doing pretty well. In fact, they finished their summer work at Penn Station on schedule and within the budget. Which,
Whoa.
that shouldn't be too amazing, but these days it is.
That's incredible.
So-
To finish anything on budget and on time.
Yeah.
So, I just found an article that's actually kind of shocking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
It was published September 5th, so just a couple of days ago. It's talking about how intermodal rail is slowing down.
I mean, rail in general
How-
is slowing down right now.
Yeah, I mean, all commerce is sort of slowing down. Everybody has forgotten yet again, because they're worried about an economic crash, that the leading cause of an economic crash is being worried about an economic crash.
I mean, that's true, but people tend to get
Well.
worried about other things and then go, oh, this might lead to an economic crash.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If people would just be worried about those things, there probably wouldn't be an economic crash. It's when people go, oh, this might lead to an economic crash, that the economy crashes.
When people start panicking and pulling out their money, that's when things get really bad. Not
You
to say
can't
that things
pull
don't
out.
get bad.
When you pull out, things get bad.
But yeah, so what are there any hard numbers on this, TBA?
I'm looking. So, last year, there's a chart here,
Dun, dun.
and
Dear God.
The chart says...
I don't know how to read it.
Well, the point is, things are slowing down a little bit, but don't panic, because that will cause a crash.
Yeah.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah, everything's fine. NS has laid off a couple hundred people.
Union
So-
Pacific is still somehow hiring, even though laying off even more.
Again, they're hiring drone operators, not, you know. I got to take an automated bus the other day. That was fun.
Really?
Yeah. It's actually pretty cool.
How'd that go?
It was, I mean, we didn't die. The bus got spooked by, like, the reflection of something in the road, but, other
The
than
bus
that,
got spooked.
things went pretty well. Well, we were just pulling out from one of the stops, and the bus just stopped. And there's, like, nobody around us, and the guy's going, what's wrong with you? Like, he said they have to pilot it on a bad day about 20% of the time, but on a good day, you know, maybe 5%. There are some left turns across traffic where the bus will look for a gap that's basically longer than people will ever give you.
Right. The
So.
bus will not
drive like a maniac. Occasionally, you need to step in.
The bus is too courteous.
Made in Montreal.
Yeah, makes sense. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry.
Sorry. Excuse me.
So, we're talking about Amtrak, though. I mean, if freight is on the downswing, Amtrak could be on the upswing here, particularly in Pennsylvania. NS and PennDOT are talking about more rail to western Pennsylvania. That's at least to Pittsburgh, because currently only one train a day goes past Harrisburg. Now,
Yes.
in front of a standing room only crowd of nearly 100 people, the following state representatives asked questions and provided comments regarding the testimony about passenger train service between Pittsburgh and Harrisburg. These were a pretty fair spread. Actually, it looks. I mean, it's a spread of Republican and Democratic representatives here, and a 2014 study determined the capital costs necessary to make more passenger train service between the two towns happen. Now, I don't really know where they got the numbers because they are awfully high. It's 1.2 to 3.7 billion in 2019 dollars.
To what? Run another train?
I don't know. See, that's the thing.
Are you going to build a new track?
I guess. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't think they're talking about running one other train. I think they're trying to look at relatively short headway, commuter rail or at least rail not unlike the Keystone Corridor. NS says that they're, really stretched to capacity on the line, which makes sense since they've revised it down from 4 tracks to 2 in most places.
Well,
And
Bring back the Broadway.
yeah, basically they have 40 to 60 freight trains per day, and portions of separate track or a completely separate track for passenger trains may be necessary. So that's where a lot of the money comes from, but I feel like running just a second train a day, and frankly, if they ran a second train a day, they should turn it into the National Limited. We should have that one back. But despite the fact that there's only one daily train between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh, there are between 215 and 230,000 passengers a year using it. Which, I mean, isn't a hugely high number, but it is only one train a day.
yeah, that's... Yeah.
So, that does mean that there are, 500 to 1,000 passengers on a given boarding. Or rather, half that, because one train in each direction. So,
Well,
but that means you can get, or on a given train, not on a given boarding, or the usage for the train. Yeah. So there's a lot of chit chat here. I would like them to keep looking into this, of course, because Pennsylvania has a fairly rich history of having rail service, and right now they don't have a whole lot of it.
yeah.
Christ, and we have freight.
Yeah. You know what else doesn't have passenger service right now, and also used to have passenger service?
Ohio.
Viva Las Vegas, baby.
Viva Las Vegas!
The Viagra commercials have ruined that song for me. Just saying.
Those are in Viagra commercials?
Yes, Viva Viagra. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I don't even think they really exist so much anymore, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, after a number of fits and starts, plans for a high-speed train connecting California and Las Vegas are back on track. The announcement was made at the Nevada Economic Development Conference on Tuesday, and they said the train will travel up to 150 miles an hour, making the non-stop trip between the Victor Valley region of California and the Las Vegas Strip in about 90 minutes.
Wow.
This is being done by our favorite murdering railroad company, also known as Brightline. So,
Which is now Virgin.
Yeah, they've...
Or part of Virgin.
Like I've said before, they have nailed the demographic of the Floridian, which is generally retirees and also high school and college students, and Disney goers. So now that
And Disney goers.
hit all of those demographics, they're looking for the midlife crisis gambler.
Well,
And they're looking to take them out too. So we will see if it's something this is the real test. Is it something unique to Brightline, or is it just something unique to Florida Man?
Florida Man.
Why is California still not building the high-speed line that they've been talking
Because
about for years?
because they
now?
said, well, F this, because the costs got too high. So
Yeah.
they're building part of it, and then maybe if that goes well, and somebody decides to spend a lot of political capital, they may you may see more of it get built.
He said F this.
I mean, seriously though, and then they got in a huge kerfuffle with the federal government, because the government was like, well, what about all those funds we gave you to build this thing? And they were like,
Yup.
well, we gave up. We already spent the money. And they're like, give it back.
then everybody's
We
like,
don't- sorry, we already spent it. Things were too expensive. But speaking of
And it's gone.
yeah, speaking of that, exactly. Speaking of the
And it's
federal
gone.
government, we are seeing a visitor increase. I don't know the details because it's a Trains Magazine article, but there's been a visitor increase at the Golden Spike site and at Steamtown, so these railroad-related federal
Yeah, you explained 150.
NPS attractions. Go Steamtown. And go to Steamtown. Also, if you're in the area, swing by a place that has about as much steam locomotive activity, the East Broad Top. The track is still there, the buildings are still there, the cool Mikados and hopper cars and everything else, still there. It hasn't
Yep.
gone anywhere. It's not going anywhere
Nope.
anytime soon. And
Nope.
it's still for sale.
Is it still?
For about $8 million, which is not much for a whole railroad.
No.
It's just, you gotta hope there aren't any back taxes on that railroad. So, the Friends of the EBT is working hard, and so, they're doing as much as they can, and they've stabilized a number of buildings, and, here's the question. What happens when Kowalczyk, who's in his 80s, dies?
Doesn't he have kids?
They're not really interested in it.
Oh.
Or, well, if they are, I don't think they're as interested in keeping it together. Or else he probably would have passed it off already. He's hanging on to it because he's looking for someone that will take it in as their own. Not,
Like the EBT Historical Society.
Yeah,
Or the Friends
well-
of the EBT, sorry.
The thing is,
Them.
the Friends of the EBT have tried to buy portions of it, but they do not have the money.
Well,
And-
the Friends of anything just automatically are broke. That's how this works.
He's looking for somebody. I mean, obviously, there's the Friends of the EBT, and I mean, I would assume that if faced with the inevitable, he would at least think about giving it to them, just as a parting gift, almost. But then what are they going to do with it?
Well.
That's the thing. They are working very hard on it, but it really does need somebody with fairly deep pockets to show up and go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to buy this. And
Yeah. It's sort of... It honestly reminds me a lot of the Cats for a lot of reasons. It's very intact. It's, got this following... and more than anything, or almost more than anything, the fundamental problem with it is it's in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can't... The reason I feel is that you haven't seen an investment group step forward to buy the entire thing lock, stock, and barrel is I don't really see a viable business model in it. It's just too far away from everything.
I mean, the Cats has
You-
managed
you-
it, though.
Not really.
Well,
The Cats has been operating at a loss since its inception. It's backed so heavily by both Colorado and New Mexico. As a business, it wouldn't survive. Like the Durango and Silverton is a private business. They survive completely on their own accord.
and they
The
support
Cats
two
is-
other railroads.
Yeah, and support two other railroads when those railroads are struggling. The Cats, on the other hand, it's closer to a state park almost.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't in name, it still operates like a business, but the amount of funding they get from both of the states is just it's on life support essentially, and it has been since the day it was conceived. That's just how it works.
Yeah. Well,
We have a higher ridership at the museum than the Cats does.
seriously? Yikes.
Ouch.
Yep,
Yeah.
2 years ago we beat the Cats by a couple thousand riders.
Ouch.
Yikes.
Yup. I think they beat us last year just because they saw a big spike when the DNS closed. But
Well, I guess we'll go to this other place that's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And that's a shame. It really is. But
it is, and the EBT is so cool.
it is. Well, I mean, once we hit the lottery.
Iron Horseman Railroad.
Yeah. The real Iron
No.
Horseman Railroad.
So there will be several.
So, I mean,
And then we
you know,
merge them all together.
I'm sure if enough of us spent all of our money
Yeah, well,
after several years
We
when
can-
we've saved it up.
we could have a useless railroad.
Yay!
Yay!
I mean, plenty of people have much more useless railroads than that.
Yeah,
But hey,
these sound like my plans after college, but with more steps.
Dude, we got the skills though.
Do we though?
We have the technology.
I mean, I don't know what I have. I guess I can
We've got
do the.
like the guy who knows
Balance a
everything
budget.
about steam
I
engines.
mean, yeah.
That's part of the problem. Well, it's part of the thing that a lot of these
Yeah,
friends
fabricator right
forget
here.
or friends groups forget about. You've usually got a lot of very mechanical guys, and you need people that can do accounting and advertising and HR and things like that.
hmm You need the
You
other
need
business
more than
part.
railroaders to run a railroad.
Mm-hmm.
As shameful as that sounds.
Well,
Well, no,
that's the way it's always worked, though.
Mhm.
You know, that's the entire cartoon of Pigs as Pigs. It's the bureaucracy of the railroad. Railroads forever have had just horrendous bureaucratic entanglements, messes. I don't know. Choose your word.
Penn Central.
They're both
Mhm.
accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Especially tourists. Or especially tourist railroads. That's a fucking...
Tourist railroads are actually the other way around. They tend to do okay being run mostly by enthusiasts, but you still need people that are business minded.
Yeah.
Right.
They can like trains, but not everybody can be an engineer and a brakeman and a conductor.
Right.
You need people that are, you know, they do the gift shop, they do the accounting, they do advertising, and that's just how it works.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, how are we doing for time?
I mean, this one's run a little bit long, but if we've got more stuff to cover, we can cover it.
I mean, I have stuff, but it can also...
I mean, this last thing is really nightmare fuel, and it's
All right. Well, let's. Oh my God!
What is this?
Oh
The
my
Kansas
God.
City
CSX
Southern
Holiday.
Holiday Train.
Oh,
Jesus
this.
Christ!
Is it this thing?
It's horrible.
Yep, it's this thing.
Stop.
I have never been a fan of faces on trains, and this one really just seals the deal. Like, this is nightmare fuel.
It's like one of those creepy Rankin Bass.
I mean, thanks KCS for trying to show some holiday spirit for the nobody that you're around. But
What, you can't have Christian cows?
no.
Oh, all cows are Hindu. Sorry, I forgot.
Oh my god.
It's a matter of necessity for them, really.
It's a matter of, yeah.
Dude, if I saw this coming down the tracks, I'd run away.
If
Can you imagine?
if I was
you're in
introduced
the
to this-
middle of a field in dark Kansas. There's nothing around you for 100 miles, and then this looms out of the darkness
See,
at you.
this is what happens. This is the literal nightmare. You're in the field in the middle of Kansas. You have no idea where you are. You can't see anything, and then you feel this glow. You turn around and you're faced with this face.
I would scream,
Yeah, if I was introduced
urinate,
to this,
and then run.
if I was introduced to this as a child, I'd be into planes.
Yeah. Yep.
This would be called the
Yep.
Terminal.
Yep.
The Hanger podcast.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hanger, I barely know. Well.
Hey, whoa, hold on a minute.
Whoa. Easy.
So what?
Anyway. There's a couple of things that I want to talk about, but I really don't think I
Go
should
ahead,
talk
David.
about them without Milky here.
Yeah, let's wait for him
So-
on those.
Let's just, because we've demonized plenty of stuff across the course of this episode, mostly political.
Including a flat car.
Let's talk about Union Pacific for a second. And how they are allegedly, according to the water company at least, they are allegedly going to be standing in the way of clean drinking water.
And we're again back to the Muppet movie villains.
So,
Amtrak cannot catch a break.
no, they
at
can't.
all.
Union
It's just
Pacific...
never ending with them.
Union Pacific has is trying to defend. Okay. So let's set the scene. Union Pacific serves a water treatment company, or water treatment chemical company in California 5 times a week, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, presumably. They want to instead serve them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. HASA, who's the company, they distribute water sanitation chemicals, and they took them to court, saying, if you dial it back to 3 days a week service, there will be product shortages, and you will threaten supplies of safe water to, they said, 24 million people in Southern California, or nearly 24 million people. Union Pacific's reply is, this company mostly, quote, ultimately there is no support for Haas's apocalyptic claims that the entire population of Los Angeles Basin will be out without clean drinking water if Union Pacific provides 3-day-a-week service. That was their response, because...
I mean, that's fair.
Because HASA is a company that primarily, hold on, where do they bring this up? So, so the STB ordered UP to maintain the 5-day service last week while they work through this. It says something about something about the fact that HASA provides a lot of their chemicals go to like cleaning pools and stuff like that, not cleaning drinking water. And also, quote, in the past 3 years, HASA has never received more than 16 cars in a single week. The idea that it needs to receive those cars in 5 weekly switches rather than three weekly switches defies logic.
Yes, that's ridiculous.
And also it says this has nothing to do with precision scheduled railroading. This is just us dialing back service. This has nothing to do with PSR.
I like how they've clarified that.
So, HASA is freaking out. Union Pacific's like, you're freaking out. But it certainly makes a good headline. So, yeah, most of the chemicals HASA ships to municipalities are for maintaining swimming pools, not public drinking water systems, as the railroad notes.
Think of the poor billionaires. They'll be without their pools.
Well, I assume... Well, it's shipping to municipalities, so I don't think it's going to billionaire swimming pools. It's probably going to, like, community swimming pools.
Think of the poor communities without their swimming pools.
In Southern California, I feel like the swimming pool's kind of important.
Go to the ocean!
Well, you can be
No,
kind of...
you don't want to go to that ocean.
First of all, yeah.
Then clean the ocean.
Second of all...
Ocean's gross.
Second of all, I feel like plenty of these people are pretty far from the ocean.
Well...
I mean, not like
Tell me
you
about it.
far.
Tell me about being far
Not
from
you
the ocean.
far, but... but yeah, so... I don't know. I don't think this is going to go anywhere for HASA. You know... UP is just, they make a good villain, you know?
Yeah, well,
And also, UP
we've
having...
proven that time and time again.
UP having 4014 rolling around certainly contributes to the idea that the villains always look the best anyway. They have the best, you know. They have the best outfits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, if we're talking about places that struggle with water, the Grand Canyon Railroad is planning a doubleheader. Maybe it'll happen. When I was going there, they were also supposed to be doing such a thing. It didn't happen. So, hopefully nobody like me plans their trip around this and then doesn't get to see it. for big engines going places, 611 has of course made it to Strasbourg, and they are taking it apart. They have separated the tender from the engine. They are doing work.
Oh God. Apocalypse now.
Yeah, cats and dogs living together. If we want to talk about apocalyptic railroading scenarios, though, there was an unstoppable scenario in the Czech Republic.
Oh, dear. I like how that's the term for it now. It's an unstoppable scenario. It's not a runaway anymore.
Due to the mistake of 2 rail employees, a runaway train without control started its journey in the Czech town of Cheb, past 100... it went over 100 kilometers, and finally stopped in the German town Schwarzenfeld.
Darkfield.
What?
Blackfield, sorry.
Darkfield.
Blackfield, sorry.
Blackfield. So, someone... Yeah, so, interesting. That happened.
The men those responsible have since been executed.
They've been sacked. No, but the people responsible for the Yokohama derailment probably committed ritual suicide. There was... Oh, actually, one of them already died, so... There was
For ritualistic suicide?
There was a train in Japan, in Yokohama, that crashed into a truck, by the looks of it, or, by this picture, what's left of a truck.
It was probably a truck when they crashed into it.
Yeah, it was, but not for much longer. And, yeah, so that's kind of a mess. 30 injured, 1 killed, who was the truck driver. So, it's funny that, we don't talk about, or we don't get the chance to talk about Japanese derailments often, because they don't often happen.
Yeah.
And last time we talked about the slug that ruined the situation in Japan. But anyway, on a brighter note, so we've had lots of really cool units come out of CSX lately. Would it surprise you to learn that they are all the result of one individual?
Not in the slightest.
So his name is Tyler Hardin, and he works at the, well, actually, he works at a Toyota manufacturing facility in Georgetown, Kentucky, but he also serves as a graphic designer who works for various railroads, including CSX. And he has supplied the paint schemes for number 1776, which is Spirit of Armed Forces, the Spirit of First Responders, number 911, and the Spirit of Law Enforcement, number 3194.
I feel like that one's better if you say it 911.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
We can all agree that he's better than UP's graphic designer.
Yeah,
You're right.
You're right. But he's
Sorry,
also
UP,
worked with
but your veterans unit is not that great.
CSX's Eric Henderson, who is a network planning and special projects director for CSX. They started working together in 2015, and, here we go. And also, Hendrickson and Hardin worked together on the restoration of Clinchfield 800, previously mentioned, which was used on the Santa train in 2015. So, yeah, Clinchfield. Anyway, so that's some cool stuff.
So, yesterday, the article was published yesterday, Norfolk Southern, some inspectors missed a defect in the tracks, and it caused a pretty big derailment.
Oh yeah, so this was the Pittsburgh derailment that I think we got to talk about a while ago, where they tumbled some intermodal containers down a cliff and onto a road.
Yeah, and the little video clip has the one with it spewing all the boxes everywhere.
Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my god!
Dude, that's what I was like, oh.
Oh no, we need a link to this.
There you go, right there in
it's the villager fire truck, like...
Dude,
why would it be water?
Oh, man.
I'm just gonna show everyone this, just so everyone has a chance to see it. Of course, you can look at all these links with the cargoes. It's in the video. You guys gotta pull up that article and look in the video.
I've got an ad for another 15 seconds.
Oh my god.
Apparently, I'm supposed to vote for Franco Harris.
Okay, I have no idea who that
Fortunately,
is.
nobody was seriously hurt, and the cars held nothing more dangerous or volatile
that's right, and I
than
think-
food and mouthwash.
I think Pittsburgh got upset at Norfolk Southern because it just totally crashed onto their light rail.
Yeah.
Like, I recall them being... Yeah. It caused $1.8 million of damage to the Pittsburgh light rail, and they're looking for damages.
I like how the car, it just gets there so lazily. Like, bump, bump.
You can see the doors bulge. Like,
Yeah.
uh-oh,
Boom.
it's coming. Whoop.
Taco Bell.
That's the sound of the dog going,
Yeah.
It's like,
The
oh
dog
no.
making the I'm going to puke noise.
Yep. Anyway, I think that's everything important that we have for this time around.
Yeah, I think we're all falling asleep.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
not.
I'm not.
Oh. You're a monster.
It's
I-
only 9:30, boys. Wake it up.
Yeah, get up.
I got up at 6 a.m. and was on hours of service by 6:15. I was switching before the sun was up.
Oh man, life's hard playing with trains.
Yeah, well,
I was
I
soldering.
didn't say I didn't enjoy it. It was just early.
I might have gotten a little splattered with solder today.
Oh, really?
It wasn't fun,
Oh.
but I was mostly okay. Anyway, what do we think
I
is the
got
latest train on
splattered with
Amtrak? I know
weld.
what the latest train on Via Rail is.
Why do I feel like it's like the Sunset Limited?
I don't know. Why do you feel that way? Is that what you want to pick?
Well, it's always
Yeah.
late. It's one of the trains that's always late.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's either that or like 5. Amtrak 5 is always late too. Let's be real.
Well, pick one.
I want to pick. You know what? Let's go with the Sunset Limited.
Alright,
Going. This is always the hard one.
It's a toss-up.
It is. It's a 50-50. The one going to LA this time.
The one going to LA. Okay.
Yeah.
Wybold or Jader.
Westbound Southwest Chief.
Westbound Chief.
With Ben Chief. Sorry, I just took a drink.
No, that was me screwing it up. I said
Oh.
westbound, and then I went, nah, you know what? I'll exaggerate that.
Chief.
The Chief. Jader.
I'm gonna go with eastbound Lakeshore Limit. No, Capital.
The Eastbound Capital Limited. It's funny,
Capital Punishment.
Those Eastern trains, they really do get late sometimes, even though they don't have that much room to do it, usually if there's some sort of catastrophe. However, the Capital Limited, there's only one on the map right now. Oh no, there's both of them on the map.
Did the other one just die?
One is 43 minutes late, and the other one is on time. At Pittsburgh. So it's not that. Let's see, the westbound Southwest Chief, you said?
Yes.
The Southwest Chief to Los Angeles is either 5 minutes late or 55 minutes late, depending on who you ask.
Wait,
Alright.
what?
So, because there are 2 on system right now. So that ain't it. I will say, somebody should have probably tapped into TBA's intuition and guessed Amtrak 5, because that's 3 hours and 44 minutes late. Making it
Really?
the second latest train on Amtrak.
Oh no.
Behind
Behind the
the
coast.
westbound Sunset Limited.
Holy
At
crap!
3
I nailed
hours
both
and
of them.
58 minutes late.
I nailed both of them.
It barely has made it to Houston.
Oof.
Honest to God, I did not look, man.
Now, however, that pales in comparison to the Ocean, the Via Rail train to Halifax, which is running 24 hours and 8 minutes behind schedule.
At that point, you're 8 minutes behind. You're just that day, you'll never get it back. It's gone now. You're 8 minutes late.
I mean, that's what they had to do with Via Rail when they got, 48 hours behind.
What was it? The 7:45 was always late, but arrived today at 7:45. The engineer hollered as they cheered his name. Well, we're right on time, but this is yesterday's train.
Anyway. Alright, well, that's that. Oh, God, I need a termination. What am I going to say? Oh, I know what I'm going to say.
I know what you'll say.
What am I going to say?
I'm gonna do
when I say that my termination is, I kind of like the FL9s and the Texas.
I thought your termination was this friggin' thing.
Read it backwards.
I killed. I like
the
spaghetti. What?
the grapevine. Okay, I see it.
I like the grapevine paint on the FL9s better than the New Haven paint.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid.
Which, in fairness, I don't actually like it more than the New Haven paint. I just do like it.
Why did you go through the effort of typing that backwards?
So that I wouldn't know what it was until now.
Oh.
I didn't, by the way. They have a like Google Translate, but it reverses things. Also, go see Jojo Rabbit. Maybe.
Or don't, I don't know.
Or don't, we're not sure.
That's the question now, isn't it?
Mm.
Can you put that back so that I can actually paste it in the document?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah, that. Thank you, I need that.
I didn't think I had deleted it, sorry. Boots, yeah, bitch.
I'm back. Alright, so that's the thing. Rail says professionals have standards, Pensy standards. No surprise there on the termination. I would like to say that Zisto Plays Minecraft is back. And I'm so excited. You guys need to watch the trailer for it. Not even for the fact that Zisto Plays Minecraft is back, but for the fact that for the entire first half of the trailer, he's using clipped audio from various movie trailers and stuff like that to say what he wants to say. It boggles the mind how much time he spent on doing that.
Is there a link to it?
Yes, it's my termination. Jader?
Okay.
I'm the machine.
Oh god, here we go with that again. That was the... If we could pick one comedy bit for the Pennsylvania special, that was it. And, Abby?
This is just my newest commission, my newest piece of art. I always put that there.
Alright, anyway. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the Terminus Podcast. We haven't broken a record, but we got close. So, we'll see you in
I built a reefer.
Hopefully with fewer pieces of news, because Jesus Christ, we got a lot this week.
It's okay. Good long podcast is fun every now and again.
Yeah, every now and again, but I have to do it every time. Anyway. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching.